Hey truckers, today we're seeing part 10 of From Enemies to Lovers, a hidden marriage story. Let's dive into the video. Lu Tingxiao's words dissolved Ningxi's worries. Oh! The devil! He was way too sweet. Too gentle. How she wished she could offer herself to him. Little Treasure thought his father was really going to give him to Auntie Xiaoxi, then he heard that he was only going to stay here for a period of time, so he was a little unhappy as he felt cheated. What about giving me away? Liar of a father! Lu Tingxiao raised his brows and gave his son a signal to mean that he gave him the choice whether he wanted to stay by Auntie Xiaoxi's side forever. The little bun chewed on his lower lip and with a motivated expression, he told himself that he could do it. It was useless depending on father, he would take his fate into his own hands. Looking at his son getting all fired up, Lu Tingxiao nodded, not feeling guilty at all for using his own son this way. Excellent, the trump card had been delivered to the wife. Ningxi would never have known that she had fallen into the devil's trap. Her mind was filled with happiness at the thought of being able to stay with the little bun. It's late now, I'll take my leave. Please rest early. Lu Tingxiao looked at his watch unwillingly as he still had to leave. Ningxi's expression changed. Lu Tingxiao bent over and told his son, Little Treasure, I'll be leaving now, be good to Auntie Xiaoxi. Seeing that Lu Tingxiao was going to leave after talking to the little bun, Ningxi quickly stopped him. Wait! Discover dated novels on NOV/E/Lbin.co. Anything else? Lu Tingxiao halted. Yes. Well. Ningxi scratched her head and spoke, embarrassed, Lu Tingxiao, could you stay over tonight? Lu Tingxiao was astonished, his eyes were fired up and he looked at the girl passionately. If Little Treasure had not been there, Ningxi's words would have sounded like an ambiguous invitation. Even though he knew that she did not mean it that way, it sure was enough to fire him up. Ningxi realized it was inappropriate for her to say this, so she quickly explained, Little Bun has just only recovered and although the doctor said everything is fine, we cannot eliminate the possibility that he might go into a relapse. I'm worried if something happened. When it came to the little bun's health, she dared not to be careless. Plus, it was her first time taking care of a child alone, so she panicked a little. Lu Tingxiao understood her worries and when he saw the girl's dependence on him, the passion in his eyes turned into a gentle warmth. Okay. Ningxi was relieved, her uneasiness was now gone. I'll make the bed for you. No one has stayed in the guest room before and everything is new, so you can stay in immediately. You'll just need clothes to change into. I'll have someone to send over. Oh, okay then. Father was staying back, ruining his dream of being alone with Auntie Xiaoxi, thought the little bun to himself, feeling heartbroken. Lu Tingxiao rubbed his son's head with a light smile. Don't forget that we're an alliance, apart from cooperating together, we're sharing the profit too. No monopoly here. Little Bun seemed angry but he could not fight back, he then ran into the living room to look for some comfort from Auntie Xiaoxi. Father was bullying me again. After she had settled the big bun down, Ningxi started to put the little bun to sleep. The little bun wanted to listen to Ningxi sing. In the end, even after Ningxi had sung a few songs that the little bun liked, he stared at her without any intention of sleeping. Aren't you sleepy? You want me to tell you a story? Ningxi asked. Little bun shook his head. Ningxi touched her chin. You still want me to sing? Little bun nodded. You don't like what I sang just now? Ningxi asked again. New N0VEL chapters are published on N0V/E/LBIN/co/M. Little bun nodded. Ningxi understood, then, I'll change to another song? The little bun continued nodding, he was looking forward to it but at the same time, afraid of being disappointed. Ningxi thought about it, then started singing, "Sleep, sleep, my dear baby, mother's hands will caress you lightly." After changing to this song, the little bun was happy as he tucked himself into Ningxi's arms and closed his eyes. Ningxi caressed the little bun's head, realizing that he wanted to listen to this song. When she sang it to him before, he was unconscious, but he had actually still been listening, so he wanted to listen to it now. However, he was in a daze at that time and had no idea which song she sang, so when Ningxi sang it again, he was satisfied. Lulled by Ningxi's gentle voice, the little bun was soon fast asleep. Ningxi was still worried and only became at ease after she touched the little bun's forehead to confirm that his temperature was normal. She kissed the little bun's forehead and left the bed quietly. She then proceeded to check on the big bun as well. She knocked, but there was no reaction. Could he be asleep? This was not like Lu Tingxiao's lifestyle at all. Ningxi opened the door in doubt, then she saw Lu Tingxiao asleep with the bedside light and his laptop on the table turned on. Ningxi noticed the man's eye bags and frowned. Lu Tingxiao had mentioned that he was not busy with work before, but it was a straight-up lie. Lu Jingli had been away for vacation for such a long time that Lu Tingxiao's workload must have been doubled, yet, he still went to the airport to pick her up last night, then Little Treasure got that terrible fever. She was able to get some sleep with Little Treasure, but he must not have slept for a whole day. Ningxi walked over with light footsteps and propped Lu Tingxiao up. She adjusted the pillow and took off his coat before gently letting him lie down on the bed again. After covering Lu Tingxiao with the blanket, she turned off the light and laptop and was prepared to leave. But as she got up, she froze. From the pale moonlight, she watched the man's perfect face blessed by God. His face was still as cool as ever even when he was asleep. It was such a perfect face, yet he used this face of his to keep people out. For some reason, his face attracted Ningxi's gaze like a vortex. She was not able to look away and she could not help herself but want to get closer. When she was deep in her thoughts, Ningxi found herself involuntarily sitting on the bed already. When she regained her senses, her long hair was already spread across his shoulders and she was only a few inches away from his face. Ningxi woke up from her fantasies when she almost kissed him, and as if a beast was chasing her, she quickly escaped from the room. What Ningxi did not know was that as she was leaving, the man on the bed had opened his eyes and looked at her. The man on the bed opened his eyes were clear without any intention of sleeping. He was just taking a little nap on the bed earlier. When Ningxi knocked on the door, he really did not hear it, but when Ningxi came in, he was already awake although, for some reason, he decided not to open his eyes. Ningxi then carefully took off his coat, adjusted his pillow and covered him with the blanket. Although he knew she was just caring for him as her boss and supervisor, he felt warm and fuzzy under her care, his exhaustion all gone in an instant. At the moment that the girl was ready to leave, he felt a bit odd that the sound of her footsteps vanished. She was not walking or moving and he could feel the girl's gaze on him. What was she doing? What was she looking at? Too bad he could not open his eyes now, so he just acted like he was unconscious and lay on the bed, focusing on every little sound he heard. The girl stood by the bedside and stayed silent for some time. He felt nervous just being stared at, and shortly afterwards, he heard a tiny sound of fabric rustling against each other. Was Ningxi getting closer to him? As he was having his doubts, he suddenly felt something light fall on his shoulders, then he smelt the girl's familiar scent. He finally realized that it was her hair that had fallen onto his shoulders and that she was unbelievably close right now. Lu Tingxiao's heart almost stopped, his blood flow was practically at the point of flowing in reverse and a lightning-fast reaction occurred in his central nervous system as his stomach felt a flood of warmth. What was she doing? Lu Tingxiao lay as still as he could and tried to hold his breath. The girl was getting closer. Even closer. The next second when he thought he was going to taste the sweetness he had been longing for, the girl's scent disappeared and he heard her quick footsteps leaving the room. Lu Tingxiao opened his eyes and almost thought that it was just a dream. But, no, it was not a dream, it had actually happened. Ningxi was acting weird earlier, he could not understand her behavior. He shut his eyes the whole time and was not sure what exactly happened, but from his intuition, he deduced that she wanted to kiss him, but changed her mind at the last moment. Was he just overthinking? It could have just been something in his hair which she closed in to help him remove. Ha! Lu Tingxiao put his hand on his forehead as he looked at the huge reaction happening at his lower region of his body, and he let out a bitter laugh and felt as if he was going crazy. Impossible. Why would she have wanted to kiss him? Only he would do these sort of things. Because of his imagination and a non-existent kiss, his body was reacting like a teenager. Lu Tingxiao stood up and went into the bathroom. The cold water did not help to cool him down, the fire inside him burning stronger than ever. Xiao Shi. Finally, the man could not hold it in anymore, his hands reaching down, and he proceeded to relieve himself. He imagined what would follow if the girl actually kissed him just now, and he released them all. Ningxi immediately escaped to the balcony after coming out of the room. She felt a little more awake after getting herself some air. Oh my god, lust sure phases people. She was trying to take advantage of the devil while he was sleeping just now. How crazy was that? Thank goodness she came to her senses at the final moment and stopped her questionable behavior. Having such a tempting, delicious cabbage right beside her and not being able to do anything about it was terribly dangerous, how torturous. As Ningxi repented for her actions on the balcony, the phone in her pocket rang. There was a new text message from Annie. Ningxi was all freshened up now and she tapped to open the message. Annie, bro Shi, are you still there? Ningxi replied instantly, yes, what's up? Annie, yeah, boss mood recently is very, very, very bad. Ningxi's brows closed in as she typed, what happened? How bad was it for Annie to use very 3 times? Annie, I think boss must have argued with you, bro Shi. Ningxi thought she would be able to get more important information than such a vague answer, so she was somewhat disappointed after she saw the message. She responded, you think too much, I've not even been in contact with him recently, how could I possibly have argued with him? Ningxi felt that something was amiss after she sent the message. The most up-to-date NVELs are published on n0velgen.co/m. It seemed that a while ago she had argued with that guy. Because of what had happened in Philadelphia, she was irate and she sent him a message scolding him as a bastard. Could his bad mood be because of that? The more Ningxi thought about it, the more she felt it was possible. Annie, bro Shi, you don't have to hide from me, I know about it already. You're angry because of what happened in Philadelphia, aren't you? Boss wasn't trying to hurt you, he was angry after he found out about it as well. What happened wasn't under the boss's orders, it was someone else's. Boss was furious and has already made them pay the price. Ningxi was surprised and had a moment of realization when she saw the message. No wonder she had felt that something was odd about the incident and it did not seem like his way of doing things. She was simply too angry at that moment and did not think much about it. Moreover, that guy's personality was so unpredictable, even more so than a woman. Who knew if he might have changed his ways? Anything was possible and he was not the sort who could be easily predicted with just common sense. But the point was that after that incident, she realized something that had never occurred to her before. It was likely that the whole issue was not just about her, but both that man and Lu Tingxiao seemed to be related in other ways. Every time he mentioned Lu Tingxiao, he would behave oddly. As though he bore an immense amount of hatred towards Lu Tingxiao. This thought worried her, which was why she took the risk to return to St. Bernard City and looked for third senior sister's help. All right, got it. Anything else? Ningxi replied. Annie, another thing is, Broshi, you asked me to be your spy, didn't you? I've been looking out for you and recently, someone was looking for trouble with boss, so he's been out at sea, nothing much. But I've just gotten a hold of a piece of information and it's kind of worrying. Ningxi was nervous. What is it? Annie, I just saw that boss gave Bro Yi a new mission. Ningxi, what class? Annie, S-class. Ningxi's face turned pale when she saw the words S-class on the screen. Annie would not be worried enough to urgently inform her if the mission was of any other class. Damn it! What mission did that guy issue? It's an S-class and he even let Tang Yi do it personally. Could it be related to Lu Tingxiao? At the same time, at the biggest casino in Las Vegas. Thick stacks of account books were placed on the table inside a luxuriously lined box. A gentleman with gold-framed glasses sat on a leather sofa. A pool of blood was growing right below the man's foot while a bald man twitched, covering a bloody stump where his right arm used to be. Everyone else was nervous and sweat flowed profusely from all the brows in the room. The laptop on the table suddenly turned on by itself and a single crimson S appeared on the screen together with a loud blaring alarm. Everyone who saw the alphabet was terrified. An S-class mission. Did something serious happen? Even Tang Yi was worried, so he raised his hand and signaled for everyone to leave. Everyone went out quickly and left Tang Yi alone. Tang Yi pressed a button on the keyboard and a visual appeared on the screen. The sound of waves came roaring through the speaker and a dark silhouette was seen on a wooden deck under the moonlight in front of a bright night sky full of stars. Tang Yi looked worried and asked, Satan, what happened? The missions from the organization were ranked into 4 classes, A, B, C, and D. Missions that were ranked crucial overtook the A class and were labeled S-class missions. The last time he had taken on an S-class mission was 3 years ago and he was almost wiped out altogether, hence Tang Yi's anxiety was perfectly normal. On the screen, the silhouette was looking at the star-splashed sky with one of his legs bent on the chair and an arm waving around casually over the top of his head. He then answered the nerve-wrecked Tang Yi, Yi, am I really not good at getting the ladies? Tang Yi was speechless. After all the ruckus and mental preparation for some terrible news, what he got was a nonsensical question. Tang Yi's face crumpled. You're contacting me just to ask this? Read latest chzn/VELBI.co/m. Of course not. The man gave him a haughty look, then reminded him, Yi, you haven't answered my question. Even though he was used to the man's unreasonable nature, Tang Yi was still annoyed. He took a deep breath and calmed himself down before sighing, yes. Ah, as expected of you. Only you would tell me the truth, the man sighed and asked again, do you think I should propose to her? What? Tang Yi's knees almost gave way. Propose? This guy, did he even think things through properly? I'm such a genius, the man answered himself rhetorically without waiting for Tang Yi's reply. Tang Yi pinched the space between his eyebrows in frustration. Satan, I'm going to remind you again, things aren't looking good right now. You cannot leave the area you're in, not at least for the next 1 month. Of course, I know, you'll go on my behalf instead, the man said as a matter-of-factly. Tang Yi looked calm on the surface but he was really frustrated. He said slowly and clearly, so, your so-called S-class mission is to help you propose to my little junior sister? That's right, the man confirmed. Tang Yi pinched the space between his eyebrows again and took a deep breath as he tried his best to control his emotions. After a while, he decided to bravely tell the man on the screen in a cold tone, I'm sorry, I reject this mission. To his absolute astonishment, the man on the screen was not angry after being rejected. Instead, he put on a friendly front and said, oh, okay, I guess I'll just have to go myself then. Absolutely not. Tang Yi tried to suppress his vexation and simulated killing someone in his mind a few hundred times before he gave in. Fine, I'll go. On the deck, the man stood up and brushed the hair swept across his forehead with his fingers, the faintest of his evil grin gleaming in the dark as he said, "Failure will not be tolerated, you know that." Screw it! Tang Yi growled. He would rather take on a real S-class mission than this silly job. Ha ha ha. He seemed accomplished after he had made Tang Yi mad, laughing heartily as he told him with squinted eyes, "If you're successful, bring her back. If not, send her my message." Tang Yi was speechless. Where did his confidence come from, thinking that he even stood a chance? It was not that he doubted the man's ability to pick up girls, it was his outrageously disastrous emotional quotient level. Unfortunately for Tang Yi, he knew that the man would not change his mind once he had decided on something, and if the orders were not executed, he would really go out on his own, then the consequences could be dire. After some serious thinking on the balcony, Ningxi calmed down. Why was she relating everything to Lu Tingxiao? It was an S-rank mission, after all, so it had to be something internal. She then went back to bed and prepared to go to sleep, but her right eye kept on twitching. Right eye, did that bode disaster? Just as she thought about it, her left eye started twitching as well. Left eye, was that a blessing? Ugh, both eyes were twitching together, so which was which? The next morning. 7 sit envelb/n, C/M for L test vels. Ningxi woke up earlier to prepare breakfast. She made a simple seafood porridge, heart-shaped sunny-side eggs, and some pickled dishes. Her spread looked delicious. As she was setting the table, she felt a soft bump on her calf. The little bun had woken up. "You're up. Go and wash up." All his personal care items and clothes had been sent over the night before, so she did not have to worry about anything. The little bun shook his head and spread his arms wide, signaling that he wanted a hug first. Of course, Ningxi would not reject him and fulfilled his request with a loving smile. As they played around, footsteps interrupted them. Lu Tingxiao was awake. It was not the first time she saw the bedhead version of Lu Tingxiao who had just woken up, but today, he seemed a little different. There was a wild look in his eyes. Lu Tingxiao used to look at her with a gentle gaze, somewhat like a herbivore, but now it seemed like his facade was peeled away as though the seal on the devil was slowly being removed. Ningxi felt guilty about what she had almost done last night, so she averted her gaze away from him and coughed lightly. "Boss, you're awake. Wash up and breakfast will soon be ready." Lu Tingxiao calmed himself down and returned to his usual self. Ningxi measured the little bun's temperature before the meal and was relieved to see that it was normal. The little bun not talking was the least of her worries. The most important thing to Ningxi was the health of the little bun's body. Of course, she would have liked to hear him speak soon, but she would not force him to do anything he did not like. He would speak when he felt like it. After breakfast, Ningxi remembered something. "Ah, I almost forgot. I brought you guys some presents." Presents! Little Bun's eyes were shining in glee. Ningxi went back to her room and took out 2 sky blue colored bags, one for the little bun and one for the big bun. Lu Tingxiao took the bag for him and said in surprise, "I get one too?" "Of course." The devil's present was the most expensive one. Lu Tingxiao opened the bag and saw a suit inside, then he took a peek into his son's bag. In it was a child-sized suit that looked exactly like his own. Ningxi probably enjoyed watching them wearing matching outfits. But apart from the suits, there was something else different between the bags. Ningxi bought the little bun a fluffy toy bear that he could clip onto his bag, and Lu Tingxiao received a tie pin. "How is it? Is it okay? Do you like them?" Ningxi asked nervously. The little bun rushed back into his room and took out his bag. He gave it to Ningxi and wordlessly requested her to help him put the bear on it. Lu Tingxiao asked, "Would you like me to put it on for you?" Ningxi was really happy when she heard his offer and she nodded, "Yes, please." The little bun quickly took his suit and went to change as well. Ningxi held her chin in the palms of her hands and waited for them excitedly. She was also a little worried because the color she had picked this time was probably challenging the devil's limit. Your favorite ovals at n/vl/bin.com. She had picked sapphire blue the last time and this time it was red. She bet that the devil had never worn anything red in his life before. Of course, it was not a terribly bright red color. Instead, it was a distinguished maroon color. She was really surprised when the devil had said that he would put it on when he saw it because she was afraid that he would not even bother trying it on. After some waiting, both of them came out at almost the same time. Seeing the big bun and the little bun together, Ningxi was dumbfounded. They looked extremely handsome. How could they be so dapper? She did not expect the devil to look that cool in red. As expected of the devil, he could pull it off well. And because she had never seen the devil wear red before, she felt really excited. How is it? Lu Tingxiao raised his brows in question, although he actually already knew what the girl thought about the look when he saw her expression. He had really never worn such a color before in his life, but since it was a present from her, he put it on without thinking any further. As long as the wife picked it out, he would wear anything she chose. So cool! Ningxi was impressed by their smart dressing. Lu Tingxiao's suit was a three-piece with a vest and coat, while the little buns had braces holding up his trousers and was finished with a bow tie. They both definitely look like showstoppers. Ningxi returned to her senses and realized that it was already quite late. Lu Tingxiao, you're almost late for work, aren't you? It's still pretty early, aren't you going to find a place for Gongshangzi? These are a few places I've looked at. Here they are for your reference. Lu Tingxiao gave her a file folder. That's really quick. Ningxi was amazed by the devil's efficiency. This doesn't take much time. She was always at the top of his priorities, of course, he would be quick. Thank you so much. Ningxi felt at ease when she saw the file containing the analysis and comparisons of different areas. She then took a glance at the little bun and felt a little awkward. I'm going out to look for houses today, so what can the little bun do? It's okay if I am going out for a short while, but I'm going to a lot of places today and it'll be difficult for him to follow me. The little bun felt abandoned after he heard her plans. Let me call Butler Yuan over, Lu Tingxiao said. New chapters will be fully updated at novl/bin.com. The little bun stared at his father and held Ningxi's hand tightly. No. Ningxi hesitated. She would still feel bad even if someone was taking care of the little bun since she had to abandon him. Lu Tingxiao saw through her worries, then he put his phone down and said, alternatively, I'll bring him to my office, then you can come over and pick him up after you're done. She would be much more comfortable if the little bun followed his father. Ningxi then squatted down and told little bun gently, Little treasure, I'm really sorry that I'm busy today. Do you want to wait here or would you like to go to the office with your father first? He did not want to choose. All he wanted was to stay with Auntie Xiaoxi. He was not afraid of being tired. But he was afraid of troubling Auntie Xiaoxi. He was afraid that she would be exhausted looking after him. The little bun struggled for a while, then he looked at his father reluctantly and decided to go to the office with his father. Then, he could create more chances for father to be with Auntie Xiaoxi. He did not want to do this at all but, oh well, he could form an alliance with his father since he would need his father's help to be with Auntie Xiaoxi in the long run anyway. Lu Tingxiao was satisfied with his son's decision. It was as expected of his son. Ningxi did not notice the exchange between them and she hugged the little bun tightly. "You're really sweet today. I'll pick you up after I'm done." After that, they went their separate ways. At the Lu Corporation office tower. As Lu Tingxiao held the little bun's hand and walked out of the car, everyone was surprised. All the limelight was focused on the little boy Lu Tingxiao had brought. Just by looking at his face, they instantly knew that this was none other than the legendary Little Master. It was even more obvious as they wore matching handsome outfits today, and they attracted all the spotlight to themselves as if the sun was favoring them and shone directly on their path. The secretary at the receptionist table was really excited and sent a message to the office group chat. She alerted everyone, "Oh my god, big news. CEO Lu brought Little Master to the office. Little Master is so handsome, so cute." After the news was out, the group chat exploded like cold water being added into boiling oil. New messages kept spilling in quickly, one after another. "Little Master. Don't try to lie. It's impossible that CEO Lu would bring Little Master to the office. Did you make a mistake? How do you know he is the Little Master? I've been here for 5 years and I've never even seen a wisp of his hair. So, the Little Master is real? I thought it was just a rumor. Even if there's a kid, it can't be the Little Master. CEO Lu keeps a low profile. Why would he bring his son to the office?" The secretary was angered by their doubts, so she replied, "He is the Little Master. He looks exactly the same as CEO Lu, how could I possibly be mistaken? They even wore matching outfits. I've never seen CEO Lu wearing such bright colors. Do you know what color he wore today? Red. He wore red to match his son. The point is, they are so handsome. Even more so than his usual self." As the secretary described the nitty-gritty, more people started to believe her. "I need pictures. It's unfair that only you get to see it. I was shocked when I saw them, there's no time for pictures. CEO Lu is already in the lift, look for yourselves later." Because the secretary had informed them beforehand, suddenly everyone left their workstations and trained their eyes on the lift. After some waiting, finally. Ding! The lift door slid open. Lu Tingxiao was holding hands with a boy as they walked out of the lift. They had only seen their boss in black, but he really wore red today. And the boss was holding hands with a young boy who was around 5 years old, both dressed in matching suits of the same color. That perfect little face was just like a miniature version of Lu Tingxiao. Even his cool expression was exactly the same as Lu Tingxiao's. Everyone was shocked speechless until someone reacted and quickly greeted, "Morning, CEO Lu." "Morning, Little Master." The rest of them started echoing the greetings. Read latest chapters at no.vel.bin/.c/o/m only. It was a grand scene to see how everyone bowed to them, yet the 5-year-old looked really calm and there was no change in his expression. However, he was still sad about being separated from Monty Xiaoxi and did not notice what was happening around him. As both of them stepped into the CEO's office, everyone started discussing them. Jesus! It really is Little Master. Little Master sure has good genes. I'm starting to wonder who his mother is. CEO Lu actually wore red. I've always thought the only color in his wardrobe is black. Obviously, I still don't know enough. Actually, the one thing I'm most curious about is who bought the matching outfit for CEO Lu and Little Master? And who made them wear it? Right. CEO Lu probably wouldn't buy it himself and he wouldn't wear this color voluntarily. It'd still be okay if it were second master. Why do you ask? Of course, it's our future lady boss. Ningxi rang the doorbell of the hotel room. Almost immediately after she rang it, the door opened. The youth who answered the door looked uneasy and nervous, not able to hide his excitement. "Boss! You're here!" When he saw Ningxi, Gong Xiangze looked slightly relieved. After all, Ningxi's appearance in Los Angeles was so abrupt. He had not slept well last night, afraid that he would wake up to find that this was all a dream. He woke up the first thing in the morning and waited for Ningxi to come for him, afraid that she would not appear or that something wrong he had done would make her regret and change her mind. He was afraid that he would fall into another pit of hopelessness and despair. Thankfully, she was here. Ningxi looked at Gong Xiangze, who was dressed up, and asked, "Ready? Let's just go then." Let's go. Have you eaten breakfast?" "Yes, I have. The hotel provides it in the morning." "Okay, then let's go now. We'll go view some houses first, okay? Once we're done, we can immediately go prepare all that's needed." "Okay." Later, when Ningxi looked closely, she realized that in the information that Lu Tingxiao had prepared for her, he had even planned the house viewing in chronological order and included the best routes to take. She was speechless by this, and at the same time, she felt warmth flood her heart. For the entire morning, she had brought Gong Xiangze to view quite a few places in a go. They all deserved to be called the devil's recommendations since every area was very suitable and even the landlords were extremely courteous. In the end, both of them decided on a high-class office building in the south of the city. The studio was a perfect size. The renovations were simple and all the office supplies were also ready, so they could immediately move in. It certainly fulfilled her needs very well. The best part was that surrounding the studio was mostly companies related to art and fashion design, providing a fantastic atmosphere. After Ningxi discussed with Gong Xiangze, they immediately decided to settle on that place. After signing the contract with the landlord, they both prepared to purchase items to furnish the studio. "We mainly need to settle the purchasing for these 2 days, then we can go recruit some people from the talent market." Ningxi was just telling Gong Xiangze all of this when a group of young people came their way. These people were dressed in the trendiest outfits and the man in the middle seemed to be the leader. He looked delighted and arrogant. "Teacher Dai, you're amazing. At the latest Los Angeles Fashion Week, all the Chinese fashion designers were blown away by you. Even CL's chief designer, Mr. Smith, was praising you tons. What is the meaning of that? Since returning this round, half of the most popular actresses in the entertainment circle were wearing Teacher Dai's designs. I heard that Teacher Dai is preparing to join the Golden Award. This coming Golden Award will be a shoe-in for Teacher Dai." Ningxi initially wanted to casually look around, so she did not pay much attention. However, she realized that after Gong Xiangze saw that group of people, his expression instantly changed. To be more accurate, it was after he saw the man in the middle of that group that he seemed different. She heard all those people addressing the man in the middle as Teacher Dai. Could it be? Read latest chapters at bin/o/m only. Xiangze, you know him? Ningxi saw that something was not right, so she asked her companion. Gong Xiangze balled his hand into a tight fist and looked hard as he nodded, yes. Ningxi understood, is he the one who stole your design drafts, that asshole of a teammate Dai Wei? Yes. Gong Xiangze stared stonily at the man across them until the group of people passed them. Ningxi suddenly thought of something which she found a little weird. Xiangze, just now the both of you were so close, that Dai Wei even looked over to us. How come he didn't recognize you? At that moment, the gloominess on Gong Xiangze's face evaporated. When he heard Ningxi's question, he blushed then said, actually, even though I was a fashion designer myself, but because I worked on the designs every day, I left all the networking to Dai Wei. Thus, I did not care much about how I looked and dressed, so, even before my begging days, I didn't have a stellar image to begin with. Pfft, no wonder. You really are an odd one in the fashion design industry. Ningxi laughed. Imagine a fashion designer who cared little about their own image. And moreover, this guy could even torture himself to turn into a beggar. Ningxi coughed slightly, then gathered her thoughts. She evaluated the pretty boy beside her closely and reminded him, the next time you're not allowed to be like that anymore. No more next time, in fact. A good-spirited face works wonders for your creations, okay? Most importantly, you have such a strong foundation that you're practically a living brand, you're too unappreciative of yourself. Look at that Dai Wei, he dresses particularly and has put on even more makeup than a woman. He even wore colored contact lenses and waxed his hair, yet he's still not half as handsome as you. Gong Shangzi blushed further at her compliments. Boss, you're too exaggerative. Ningxi raised her brows in mock surprise. I'm not. If you don't believe me, just wait till you get a group of crazy female fans. Read lat.st chapters at no.bin/c/o/m only. Ha ha ha, even the devil was jealous of these good looks, so she was not exaggerating at all. If it was not for his talent in design, she would have already dragged him into the entertainment circle. Right, what's the Golden Award? Is it really that amazing? Ningxi asked curiously. It is considered China's most influential fashion design award. There is still half a month's time to register, it's a tight timeline but, boss, I want to try. Gong Shangzi's eyes shone with determination. You want to join? Of course, it's a good thing. If there's anything you need my help with, I will support you with my all. Ningxi patted Gong Shangzi's shoulder as she told him. Thank you, boss. It means a lot to me. Previously, designing was just doing it as a hobby. Apart from design, he was not interested in anything else. However, this time, he was treating it as a career-driven task, as his belief and his goals. Most importantly, he wanted to prove to the person in front of him that she had made the right choice. At the Lu Corporation, CEO's office. Ever since the little bun came in, he had been holding onto the telescope and had not left the windowsill. Even lunchtime was spent eating and lying on the windowsill, he was practically a red little blob sitting as still as a stone. Lu Tingxiao looked up from his stack of documents and noticed that his son remained unmoving at the windowsill. He looked unhappy and said, "Little treasure, go sleep in the lounge area for a while." The little bun laid there without moving. I'm not going. Lu Tingxiao shot his son a look and said, Your auntie Xiaoxi rested in that room a few days ago. Once the little bun heard that, he rolled off the windowsill and ran to the lounge area. He had finally coaxed his son into sleeping for a while. Lu Tingxiao breathed a sigh of relief and continued his work. However, not long after, the little guy was awake again and had changed his method of torturing his father. Obviously, lying on the windowsill to look out could no longer satisfy him. The little bun took out his own writing board and started to write. The little bun quickly finished writing and ran up to show his father, "Why hasn't Auntie Xiaoxi picked me up yet?" Lu Tingxiao looked at the writing board and said, "She's busy." The little bun continued, "Is it because Auntie Xiaoxi doesn't want me anymore?" Lu Tingxiao replied, "You're overthinking. Get the L-test VLS at .o/v/e/l/by.co. Little bun, then why hasn't she picked me up yet? Lu Tingxiao replied again, "I don't know, you can send her a message to ask her." Little bun, "I don't want to. I'd disturb Auntie Xiaoxi. Does Auntie Xiaoxi really like me?" Lu Tingxiao was speechless and his mouth twitched into a smile as he helplessly looked up from his mountain of work. This little guy was worried about disturbing Auntie Xiaoxi, but he wasn't afraid of disturbing his own father now? The unsettled little bun naturally did not worry about disturbing his dad at all and continued to ask 100,000 whys. Will Auntie Xiaoxi suddenly stop liking me? Auntie Xiaoxi hasn't come to pick me up yet. Could it be that she's taken a liking of other kids instead? Will Auntie Xiaoxi like me forever? Am I Auntie Xiaoxi's favorite baby? Lu Tingxiao was speechless by all of this. My wife, why haven't you returned yet? For the first time in his life, Lu Tingxiao felt that it was hard to take care of kids. At this moment, outside CEO Lu's office, the silence in the working area was suddenly broken by the sound of an excited voice. Hey, hey! My dearest babies, little master is back. Despite it being winter soon, at the entrance of the lift stood Lu Jingli, wearing a short-sleeved floral blouse with a hula skirt on his waist and slippers on his feet. His hair was a mess, as if a reminiscence of his time by the sea. He was indeed an eye-catching sight. Nevertheless, even though he dressed like crap, he was still eye candy and all the female employers shrieked emotionally. Second master. Second master is back. Second master, you're back. Didn't you say you were taking a 3-month holiday? Lu Jingli handsomely ruffled his messy hair and laughed, ha ha ha. Of course, it was because I missed you guys. Second master, we really missed you too. Second master, the way you dressed today is really impressive. So handsome, so handsome, so handsome. Second master, can we take a picture together? What day was it? Lady Luck was on their side. Not only did they see the little master, even second master who had been on vacation for a long time returned. Haha, please do. Right, babes, I've brought back some souvenirs for you all. Everyone gets one, Lu Jingli said as he delightedly clapped his hands. Behind him, a few servants walked in carrying several big boxes. Everyone stared and saw that the boxes were filled with big coconuts. Lu Jingli said arrogantly, these are all personally picked by yours truly. I almost broke my head getting these for you. Second master, you're too thoughtful. Such a special souvenir. I love it. Thank you, second master. Second master, can you please sign on my coconut? Mine too, mine too. Actually, can you sign on my body? As they watched the group of female employees rush up excitedly, all the male employees could not bear looking at the scene. Hey, if a person was born handsome, even if they had poor fashion sense, they could still win the hearts of a bevy of beauties by simply gifting coconuts. While they mulled this over, a few of them actually embarrassedly took a coconut to him for his signature. After he was done with the employees, Lu Jingli pushed open his brother's office door and announced, Brother, I'm back. One day lasts as long as 3 autumns when we don't see each other. Furthermore, it has been more than 3 autumns. I have you missed so much that, In the next second, he looked clearly at his brother in front of the desk. Lu Jingli was stunned for a second before he covered his eyes and shrieked in disbelief, Ah! My goodness! What did I just see? What was his brother wearing? What was that? He thought that the sapphire blue color from the last time was already a miracle. Today, he actually saw his brother wearing red. Red, oh, red. He dared to swear that his brother had never worn such a color in this lifetime. He didn't even need to ask to know where this idea came from. Just as he was recovering from his shock, he saw little Treasure who lay on the windowsill in matching outfit in the same color. He was flabbergasted again. My God! I can't. I've just returned and you've tortured me like this already. Someone, prepare the plane for me, I want to return to my lonely island in the northern hemisphere. When he finally calmed down, Lu Jingli started to be a busybody. He walked over and sneakily touched his brother's shirt. Did my sister-in-law get this? Looks like all this time when I was not around, the two of you have progressed well. Right, I heard that baby little treasure finally spoke, so I flew back immediately. Is it true that little treasure can speak again? He didn't even wait for a reply when he finished. He ran over to little treasure and fawned, "Baby, quickly call me second uncle. Quick. To hear your voice, second uncle even ditched all of the hot girls." Little treasure looked at Lu Jingli like he was an idiot and started writing some words. Lu Jingli looked over and only saw on the writing board, "Am I Auntie Xiaoxi's favorite baby?" Lu Jingli was confused by this question because he was already flattering the child, so he answered, "Is this even a question?" "Of course, you are." Baby little treasure's eyes shone as he continued to write. Then, "Why hasn't Auntie Xiaoxi come to pick me up?" Discover NW Chapter SNN0EL by .com. Lu Tingxiao looked at his brother and son from his desk, then unexpectedly explained to Lu Jingli the current situation out of kindness. "From now on, little treasure will be living with Ningxi, but because Ningxi has some errands to run today, I'm temporarily looking after him." Lu Jingli instantly understood and he replied, "Little treasure, don't be anxious, your Auntie Xiaoxi must be working non-stop so that she can pick you earlier." "Little bun, is work more important, or am I more important?" Lu Jingli said, Of course, you're more important." "Little bun, then, why hasn't Auntie Xiaoxi come to pick me up?" Lu Jingli was speechless. Something was not right. Why did he return to the first question again? When he saw little treasure latching onto Lu Jingli, Lu Tingxiao silently breathed a sigh of relief. He could finally work peacefully. After a while, Lu Jingli, who was being pestered by little treasure holding up his writing board, screamed pitifully, "Hey! Little treasure, have mercy on me. Don't ask any more questions." Have mercy on Lu Jingli, who was good at coaxing but could barely handle little treasure's psychological attacks. Lu Jingli looked at his brother who was working calmly and realized that it was no wonder he had been kind enough to explain the situation to him. So he had been waiting for him to all along. Pfft! Why did he have to trick him as soon as he had just returned? Finally, Lu Jingli, who had initially entered in high spirits, dressed in his floral blouse and hula skirt, lay exhausted on the sofa. He extended his hand and said lifelessly, "Sister-in-law, come back quickly." At that very moment, Ningxi, who was purchasing items with Gong Xiangzi, suddenly sneezed several times in a row. Who could be missing her? Even though everything today had gone smoothly, by the time they were finished, it was already evening. Gong Xiangzi took over the bags from Ningxi and said, "Boss, you should go home to rest, I'll handle the rest myself." Ningxi looked at the time on her phone and was worried that the little bun would be anxiously waiting too, so she nodded, "If there's anything, make sure to call me. Don't suffer by yourself." Understood. "Okay, I'll leave then, be careful on the road." Ningxi waved and reminded worriedly, "Oh right, remember to lock your doors at night and check the windows properly too." Gong Xiangzi laughed. He couldn't help feeling like Ningxi was taking care of him like he was a girl now. After she bade goodbye to Gong Xiangzi, Ningxi immediately rushed to Lu Corporation to fetch the little bun. When she thought about how she would be seeing the little bun soon, Ningxi's mood lightened up significantly, an entire day's fatigue vanishing. Juxtaposing Ningxi's good mood, at this moment in the CEO's office, Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli were being tortured to the brink of a psychological breakdown. Lu Jingli lay on the sofa like a dead fish, while the little bun determinedly raised his board to force him to answer the question, "My God. I actually suddenly feel like little treasure not speaking is a pretty good thing." He had tortured them without even speaking. Imagine if he could. Lu Tingxiao frowned and looked tired, yet he could neither hit nor scold him. He could not even say something mean, or else the wife would definitely be the first to go crazy. It was a good thing Lu Jingli had returned in time today. If he had been alone, he would not have been able to handle it. Lu Jingli suddenly took out a mirror and said seriously to Little Treasure, "Baby, don't ask me any more questions. I'm giving you this mirror. Just tell it, this is a magic mirror. You can ask it if Auntie Xiaoxi really likes you, don't ask me anymore please." The little bun looked at the mirror in Lu Jingli's hand and threw it aside mercilessly. Then, he raised his board. "Why hasn't Auntie Xiaoxi picked me up yet? Phi DDEU up TS on N, O, V/E/LN, dot. Com." Lu Jingli was on the verge of tears, so he covered his ears, no, he covered his eyes and said, "Ah, ah, ah. Baby, go to the windowsill and look again, maybe she's already here." Little Bun blinked, hesitated, then put down the writing board and ran over to the windowsill to look. Lu Jingli secretly peeked at the little guy and prepared to take this opportunity to run away. However, all of a sudden, he saw Little Treasure throw the telescope and writing board aside to race like a little rocket towards the door. Lu Jingli raised his brows, then walked over to the windowsill and looked down. Indeed, a woman's shadow appeared. "My dear sister-in-law, you finally came." Outside of the CEO's office, the employees who were busy working saw the CEO's office door suddenly flung open. What came after was the cute little master running with his short, stubby legs towards the elevator. Ah! The little master is out. Many employees who had not yet seen the little master at all widened their eyes in surprise. It looked like they were focused on their work when in fact, their attention was gathered on the little glutinous rice ball. When they saw Little Treasure standing at the lift entrance anxiously, a beautiful female employee immediately walked up to him and asked gently, "Little master, do you want to go up or down? I'll help you press the button." The most up-to-date NVELs are published on n0velbn.co/m. Little Treasure frowned and thought, Auntie Xiaoxi is already downstairs, she's probably waiting for the lift too. If he took the lift now, he might get separated from Auntie Xiaoxi. Even though he was really anxious, it was better for him to wait here. Thus, the little guy did not say anything and quietly waited at the lift. His thoughts were with Auntie Xiaoxi and he did not notice the employee beside him at all, much less hear what she said. The pretty female employee was a little embarrassed when she saw that the little master was ignoring her. Even though she was unwilling, she did not dare anger the little master, so she could only back off and dared not disturb him further. Several female employees opposite saw this and tittered, how hilarious. She wanted to brown-nose the boss to the point of disturbing the little master. She thinks that she's all that just because she's a little pretty. CEO Lu has never looked at her twice, so she actually thought of going for the little master. Little did she know that it's even harder to be on the little master's good side than it is to be on CEO Lu's. Yeah, before this, I heard that many socialites tried to go through the little master in their bid for the title of Imperial's first lady, but at last, all of them returned dejected. Not only that, they were immediately issued a warning from the Lu family. Speaking of which, I wonder how the relationship between the legendary future lady boss and the little master is. I think that just because you're good with men doesn't mean you would be immediately liked by kids. You're right, kids are usually very unaccepting about the existence of stepmothers. I think there's still a possibility this might not be the future lady boss after all. The little bun stood unmoving and poker-faced at the lift entrance, not going up or down. Earlier Mary had already been embarrassed by him, so no one dared to go up to ask the little bun anything. They could only peep at him, their curiosity growing by the second. What's the little master doing? He's stood there for practically an hour now. I don't know, I can't make sense of this at all. Pfft, it's common knowledge that our CEO Lou is unpredictable. Who knew that the little master also inherited this trait from his father? He's totally unpredictable too. At this moment, the elevator chimed and the elevator doors opened. The little bun's poker face suddenly glowed. A person walked out of the elevator. Upon seeing who walked out, he immediately turned gloomy. Little master? Do you need anything? The male employee who had walked out of the elevator was afraid of the little master's sharp look. What had he done to offend this honorable little god now? The little bun pouted without a word. His little face looked really unhappy and his cold aura was an exact replica of his father's. The male employer remained worried. Seeing the little master not saying anything, he felt caught in between to leave or not to, and a cold sweat broke out on his forehead. The time passed in minutes and seconds. As the little master looked increasingly sorrowful, everyone looked at each other worriedly, afraid that the little master's bad mood would reflect on them as bad luck. Just as the atmosphere was increasingly nerve-wracking, the elevator chimed and the lift door opened again. Only a long-haired woman in a yellow blouse and a mask on her face walked out. When the masked woman walked out of the lift, the unpredictable little master who was akin to Hades earlier with an indifferent expression, suddenly looked like spring with pink flowers blossoming one after another. He opened up his short arms and looked up cutely, asking for a hug. When they saw the scary little Hades suddenly turn into a cute button, almost all the employees were stunned speechless. Ningxi walked out of the lift and was ready to walk forward. Unexpectedly, she looked down to find an extremely cute little bun waiting for her. Naturally, she could not resist and immediately bent down to pick the little bun up. Through the layer of her mask, she kissed the little bun on the cheek. "Baby, have you been waiting for me here?" The little bun put his hands around Auntie Shashi's neck and inhaled the calming fragrance on her while he blushed. He pursed his lips and nodded obediently and adorably. All the employees present continued to look in stunned silence. The situation had taken such a sudden twist of events that they could not catch up. Ningxi squeezed the little bun and said, "Is your father still busy? Let's go see him." She had already arrived and she couldn't just take the little bun and leave, feeling like she should still greet his father. Even though the little bun wished Auntie Shaoxi would immediately take him elsewhere and never return, he naturally would not reject her wishes and continued to obediently nod. "Whatever Auntie Shaoxi says is right." Ningxi smiled as she patted the little bun's head and started walking towards the CEO's office. On the way, she noticed that around her were many people staring and she was thankful that she had decided to put on a mask earlier. Get the latest CHDers on n/velbin.com. As soon as the two went in, the people behind them immediately burst into gossip. "Ah! My God! The little master is too cute. I thought that the little master would be as cool as CEO Lou. Who knew that he could be this adorable? The way he smiled and opened up his arms for a hug earlier, my heart melted. If I had a son this adorable, even if he wanted stars from the sky, I'd pluck it for him." "Please, you think too much. Get a mirror for your coarse face. Would you ever have such good genes for your family? Damn it, I'm curious, who's that masked woman? Is she the same one who came to the company the last time? From her body and hairstyle, it should be the same one. As for who she is, we don't know. Hey, so sad, it looks like she's the official lady boss. She even settled the little master. How incredible!" At this moment, a girl in the corner, who looked much younger than the rest, weakly raised her hand. I suddenly have a rash thought. This woman can't be little master's biological mother, can it? Otherwise, why would the little master be so clingy to her? It doesn't seem logical. The girl's guess obviously opened up a can of worms as everyone suddenly started an intense discussion. On the other side of the door, as Ningxi carried the little bun into the office, she was dumbfounded. She saw Lu Jingli in a Hawaiian getup on the sofa, and her shock was similar to Lu Jingli's when he saw his brother wearing red. My God! Second Master! You're back! When did you return? My gosh! Your outfit, my eyes are about to turn blind. Even if you know you're handsome, you can't challenge the limits of aesthetics like this. Also, why do you look like your soul has left you? Too many hot girls on the island? Why do you look like your soul has left you? Too many hot girls on the island? As Ningxi said this, in order to not be a bad influence to the little bun, she covered the little bun's ears. When he saw Ningxi arrive, Lu Jingli immediately got up and stared at the little bun. He looked angry as he complained, "You have the nerve to ask me? You should go ask your child, ask him how he tortured me earlier." A certain bun blinked, his huge naive eyes looking innocent. Ningxi looked at Lu Jingli, then looked at the little bun, obviously believing the bun instead. Stop saying nonsense. What's this got to do with my baby? Lu Jingli was exasperated, looking at how a certain devil child seemed to be acting innocent like a little angel. Hey, you punk, stop pretending. Why are you still pretending? I'll expose your true colors. Lu Jingli cunningly took out the writing board that Little Treasure had casually thrown to the floor and stuffed it into Ningxi's hands. Look for yourself. See. If you still don't believe me after reading this, go ask my brother. For the entire afternoon, my brother and I were about go nuts from being tortured by him. Ningxi looked at Lu Tingxiao who sat in front of the desk, and he did seem quite tired. Then, she suspiciously raised the writing board to see what was on it. When the little bun saw Ningxi holding his writing board, he was so anxious that he was about to cry. Sadly, he could not stop her in time, and Ningxi could already see what was scrawled on the board after casually flipping it. Does Auntie Xiaoxi not want me anymore? Then, why hasn't she picked me up yet? When will Auntie Xiaoxi finish being busy? I don't want to. I'd disturb Auntie Xiaoxi. Does Auntie Xiaoxi really like me? Will Auntie Xiaoxi suddenly stop liking me? Auntie Xiaoxi hasn't come to pick me up yet, could it be that she's taken a liking of other kids instead? Will Auntie Xiaoxi like me forever? Top VL updates on n/o/v/lb/in.com. Am I Auntie Xiaoxi's favorite baby? Ningxi was speechless. She never thought that she would be seeing the little bun's emotions being expressed as such. Ningxi was completely dumbfounded too. She held Little Treasure's writing board and stood there unmoving, stunned. After all, the little bun only used to write words that were simple and straight to the point. To be honest, it was her first time seeing the little bun writing so many words that they, in fact, filled the entire board. Everything was Auntie Xiaoxi, everything was about her. As she imagined the way Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli had been asked to the point of breaking down, Ningxi started to find it hilarious. Yet, even more so, she felt waves in the depths of her heart, warming her entire soul, and she felt indescribably moved. Ningxi squatted down and hugged Little Treasure tightly. Oh, little bun, my little bun, how are you so cute? Auntie Xiaoxi loves you so much. Auntie Xiaoxi definitely won't suddenly stop liking you. Auntie Xiaoxi definitely won't like other kids. Auntie Xiaoxi will like you forever. You are Auntie Xiaoxi's favorite baby. Auntie Xiaoxi definitely won't not want you. Little Treasure, who initially felt sad and hopeless, was suddenly overjoyed as if he had invisible little wings behind him dancing energetically. Lu Tingxiao was speechless. His son got to hear the sweet sound of words he could only wish for once more, and he even received so many in a row. Lu Jingli, who had failed to rat on the little bun, was sad. Even the flare of the hula skirt on his waist had lost its life. What cruel words! You guys have no humanity. Never mind if the big one wanted to torture him, now even the little one was torturing him too. His only consolation was that, fine, this time the big one was tortured too. Second Master, how are you back so soon? I thought you were going to be traveling for 3 months. Ningxi raised her brows and asked. Lu Jingli held his chin, then scoffed, of course, I was worried about you guys, so I came back from miles away. At last, you guys inhumanely take turns to torture me the moment I return. Ningxi could not help but laugh, still not believing him. When Lu Jingli saw that she did not believe him, he could not handle it anymore, and the messy hair on his head lightly swished before he said, Fine, it's too boring on the island. To stay for a few days is paradise, but to stay longer will drive me crazy. My wild soul still belongs to the hustle and bustle of cities and our country's hot girls. Ningxi was speechless. She had actually expected this. Very quickly, Lu Jingli was excited again. His eyes shone as he said, Tonight, my friends want to throw me a welcome home party. Do you and my bro want to join for some fun? Ningxi hugged the little bun and rejected without hesitation, No, thanks, I still have to take care of the child. Lu Jingli swiftly replied, Just bring the kid along. Ningxi shot him a look and finally could not hold it in anymore. Lu Jingli, are you starting your nonsense again? It seemed he had forgotten who had brought little treasure to the bar the last time and even lost him. Lu Jingli shrunk back, then replied weakly, Xiao Shishi, your tone, the way you're scolding me, you're increasingly becoming like my sister-in-law now. You. She was only this angry because of him. When he saw that Ningxi was really incensed, Lu Jingli quickly explained, This time won't be at the bar, it's only in my own bungalow. In fact, it's all very close friends, so they won't overdo things. Ningxi only softened her expression, but she had not yet let go of the argument. Don't ask me, ask your brother, I'll listen to him. Lu Jingli was unhappy when he heard this. Why? Why do you listen to him and not me? Ningxi, obviously, he's my boss. Lu Jingli then replied, I'm your boss too. Ningxi responded, and he's your boss too. Lu Jingli could not retort further. They are torturing me again. At last, Lu Jingli bitterly turned to Lu Tingxiao, who had not been saying anything, saying, Bro, then you call the shots. Lu Tingxiao looked up at Ningxi, then said, I've got no opinions, you decide. He obviously meant that he'll listen to his wife. Lu Jingli could only turn to Ningxi again. Ningxi scratched her head and declared, Then let me ask Little Treasure. Little Treasure, want to go play? Ningxi indicated that she would listen to the little bun. The ecosystem in play was unbelievably clear. Obviously, Little Treasure did not want to go. He wanted to be alone with Auntie Xiao Shi. But, he met his father's eyes and thought of his big plans for the future, for the days to come. Little Treasure nodded unwillingly, indicating that he wanted to go play. He continued to hold back his tears in order to create opportunities for father and Auntie Xiaoxi, silently crying inside. Seeing the little bun wanted to go, Ningxi immediately said, All right then, we'll go too. Lu Tingxiao nodded, obviously he would go too. Lu Jingli the bachelor got up weakly and started, to find someone I can and want to love most deeply, to wave singlehood farewell, a sentimental hopeless romantic and heartless person, come and wound me. He sang and left the place that was making him sad. Before he left, he did not forget to give her and Little Treasure a coconut each, since it was a souvenir. Ningxi hugged the coconut and felt her mouth twitch, Big boss, then I'll take Little Treasure back to the apartment for a while. I want to change my clothes. Shall we meet later at second master's place then? Lu Tingxiao, okay, see you. Find updated ovals on n/v/elben. co/m. If Lu Tingxiao had known what she was going home to change into, she guessed that he would definitely not continue to obey everything she said. At the Regal Riviera Hotel. After they returned to the apartment, Ningxi was a little worried. Lu Jingli's party would probably be filled with people they knew within the circle, and most likely included people Lu Tingxiao knew well too. As Glory World's boss, there would probably be many people within the entertainment circle. Had it just been her alone, she would just attend. From the outside, it seemed like she was an artist that Lu Jingli had personally recruited, so it would be normal for her to go and support him. However, she was now taking Little Treasure along too. Plus, Lu Tingxiao would be going, and when the three of them stood together, it would probably not look proper. Why did she feel like she was tricked by Lu Jingli? Damn it, it seemed like she really has been. Pfft. With Lu Jingli's IQ, she had actually fallen for it. Impossible. Ningxi eyes flashed, an idea sparking. Little Treasure, Auntie wants to put on makeup and change my clothes. I might take a while, wait for me. Little Treasure nodded without any complaints, and he obediently went outside to wait. After a while, Ningxi pushed open the bedroom door. Ningxi wore a black leather motorcycle jacket with washed-out ripped jeans and black riveted Doc Martens. Her hair was short and unruly, and with a smirk, she had practically transformed into the handsome bad boy that girls could not resist. The little bun who was sitting quietly on the sofa immediately turned his head when he heard the door, then, he blinked, and blinked again. Even though Auntie Xiaoxi had dressed up beyond recognition, the little bun could still recognize her immediately. In fact, he did so with a curious expression and then excitedly circled Ningxi several times. At last, he took up his writing board and hesitantly wrote a few words, Uncle, Xiaoxi? When she saw the little bun's words on the writing board, Ningxi's eyes darkened. No, it's Brother Xiaoxi. Actually, she had been wanting to say this, but she was not sure who had taught Little Treasure to call her auntie, and she felt old. She was obviously a big sister. If she was called sister, something did not seem right, probably because there would be a seniority hierarchical gap from Lu Tingxiao. Geet the L Testvels on no/v/elben. C/om. It seemed like she did not have to ask to know who it was that let Little Treasure call her auntie. However, now that she had changed her look, she could pretend to be young again for a while. Little bun, do I look handsome? Ningxi brushed her hair and posed handsomely. The little bun nodded and very supportively wrote on his board with bolded words, handsome. Night fell. At Platinum Palace, house number 7. Lu Jingli's bungalow was right beside his brother's. Now the bungalow's entrance was lined up with so many luxury cars that he could practically have an exhibition of them. Many young and beautiful men and women got down from the cars and laughed in between conversations as they walked in. With the loud music in the bungalow and the brightly lit space, it was getting lively inside. What Lu Jingli had said before this was not a lie. Everyone who came this time was people they knew well. There were many couples, both married and not, some even bringing their little ones. It could be called a party, but it was more of a gathering of friends, so things wouldn't get too out of hand. Obviously, with such a good opportunity, there naturally would be people with ulterior motives too. Very quickly, some beauties had already clung on to Lu Jingli asking, Second Master, didn't you say your brother would be coming tonight too? Why don't we see him? Is it true? Is the CEO really coming? But, I heard CEO Lu has been really busy recently. CEO Lu stays just beside Second Master, so it shouldn't take him too long to drop by. He'll probably give Second Master face and come, isn't that right, Second Master? Second master, is your brother coming or not? You have to tell us. Lu Jingli, who was being surrounded by a crowd of people, scoffed unhappily. Are you guys here to see me or to see my brother? Obviously we're here to see you. It's been so long, everyone misses you so much. Lu Jingli's attractive face stiffened and he said, how much faker can you get? To prevent being compared to his brother's charming red suit, Lu Jingli intentionally wore an especially bright pink color, looking like a delicious strawberry-flavored candy. While he complained about all the girls who were here to take their chances in a relationship, all the gorgeous girls cozied up to him and temporarily forgot about Lu Tingxiao. Second master, everyone was so bored to death all the time you were gone. We've all been looking forward to your return. Second master, your outfit is so eye-catching. It suits you very well. You're so handsome. How did you get more handsome after we haven't met for just a few days? Listening to all the compliments, Lu Jingli finally felt better again. Yet just as a delighted smile started to form on his handsome face, sounds of shrieks coming from the door broke the air. It's CEO Lu. Bro Xiao. Bro Xiao, you really came. Oh my god. Master Xiao is wearing red today. Someone, please hold me, I'm about to faint. Lu Jingli was speechless once again from being suddenly blatantly ignored. This cruel world. Where's the light and justice? Could it be due to his shining good looks that everyone else had gotten tired of aesthetics? It seemed like he'd have to change his tricks following this hoo-ha. First, he should be cool to the people around him for a few days, then intensely flirtatious. That should definitely be earth-shattering. As these thoughts raced through his mind, he saw his brother walk coolly towards him and he could almost envision the man walking on an icy path with his own chilly breeze lending a flair or dramatics. Lu Jingli instantly decided to forget about his grand plan and just continue to flaunt his God-given looks. Forget about that highly difficult challenge. Oblivious to the scorching gazes surrounding him, Lu Tingxiao walked straight to Lu Jingli and sat down on the stool beside him before asking, "Where's Ningxi?" Lu Jingli was speechless. The first thing he wanted to ask about was his wife. "She's not here yet," Lu Jingli answered sharply. Lu Tingxiao was someone that one could only observe from afar and not mess around with, so even though the beauties on the side were swooning, they dared not randomly walk up to him. They could only observe him from a distance and gossip among themselves. Obviously, of course, there were some with more courage and guts. In the crowd, a woman wearing a red dress walked up to him and said, "Mr. Lu, long time no see." Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl who stood in front of him with a wine glass in her hand, then he frowned. A frigidness flashed across the depths of his eyes, then his icy gaze fell onto his brother. At his brother's sudden glare, Lu Jingli almost choked on his booze. Damn it! Jesus! Why did this woman come over? Wasn't this Zhuang Qier, one of the well-liked candidates from their parents' list of potential daughters-in-law, who also held the title of Imperial's #1 socialite and was widely circulated as the woman who was most likely to be Lu Tingxiao's new wife? CEO Lu stays just beside Second Master, so it shouldn't take him too long to drop by. He'll probably give Second Master face and come, isn't that right, Second Master? Second Master, is your brother coming or not? You have to tell us. Lu Jingli, who was being surrounded by a crowd of people, scoffed unhappily. Are you guys here to see me or to see my brother? Obviously we're here to see you. It's been so long, everyone misses you so much. Lu Jingli's attractive face stiffened and he said, how much faker can you get? To prevent being compared to his brother's charming red suit, Lu Jingli intentionally wore an especially bright pink color, looking like a delicious strawberry-flavored candy. While he complained about all the girls who were here to take their chances in a relationship, all the gorgeous girls cozied up to him and temporarily forgot about Lu Tingxiao. Second Master, everyone was so bored to death all the time you were gone. We've all been looking forward to your return. Second master, your outfit is so eye-catching. It suits you very well. You're so handsome. How did you get more handsome after we haven't met for just a few days? Listening to all the compliments, Lu Jingli finally felt better again. Yet just as a delighted smile started to form on his handsome face, sounds of shrieks coming from the door broke the air. It's CEO Lu. Bro Xiao. Bro Xiao, you really came. Oh my god. Master Xiao is wearing red today. Someone, please hold me, I'm about to faint. Lu Jingli was speechless once again from being suddenly blatantly ignored. This cruel world. Where's the light and justice? Could it be due to his shining good looks that everyone else had gotten tired of aesthetics? It seemed like he'd have to change his tricks following this hoo-ha. First, he should be cool to the people around him for a few days, then intensely flirtatious. That should definitely be earth-shattering. As these thoughts raced through his mind, he saw his brother walk coolly towards him, and he could almost envision the man walking on an icy path with his own chilly breeze lending a flair or dramatics. Lu Jingli instantly decided to forget about his grand plan and just continue to flaunt his God-given looks. Forget about that highly difficult challenge. Oblivious to the scorching gazes surrounding him, Lu Tingxiao walked straight to Lu Jingli and sat down on the stool beside him before asking, "Where's Ningxi?" Lu Jingli was speechless. The first thing he wanted to ask about was his wife. "She's not here yet," Lu Jingli answered sharply. Lu Tingxiao was someone that one could only observe from afar and not mess around with, so even though the beauties on the side were swooning, they dared not randomly walk up to him. They could only observe him from a distance and gossip among themselves. Obviously, of course, there were some with more courage and guts. In the crowd, a woman wearing a red dress walked up to him and said, "Mr. Lu, long time no see." Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl who stood in front of him with a wine glass in her hand, then he frowned. A frigidness flashed across the depths of his eyes, then his icy gaze fell onto his brother. At his brother's sudden glare, Lu Jingli almost choked on his booze. Damn it! Jesus! Why did this woman come over? Wasn't this Zhuang Qi, one of the well-liked candidates from their parents' list of potential daughters-in-law, who also held the title of Imperial's #1 socialite and was widely circulated as the woman who was most likely to be Lu Tingxiao's new wife? Lu Jingli did not think Zhuang Qi would come tonight. Suddenly, he looked like a tragedy had befallen unto him. "It's not my fault, I didn't even invite her." As lamented his situation, Lu Jingli skimmed the crowd and was even more stunned. My gosh, what was this? He suddenly realized that out of all the dolled-up girls tonight, half of them were secretly stealing glances at his brother, with quite a few of them from the matchmaking list his parents had put together. Even though he had not invited these people, he could not control other guests bringing their girlfriends along. They were all such close friends, so he couldn't just reject them for bringing a few friends over for some fun. Thus, if anyone was to blame for the uninvited group of guests, it would be his brother. After all, he had been attracting both the bees and the butterflies. Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli had only exchanged looks for a moment. To an outsider, Lu Tingxiao seemed to have not changed at all. He looked at the girl in front of him and nodded in greeting, "Miss Zhuang," and he did not say anything more. However, the fact that she was not ignored was more than enough to please her. Zhuang Qi was contented, and she released her nervously clasped fingers and revealed a smile. She then smoothly sat on the seat beside him and started to strike up a conversation with Lu Tingxiao. "I'm really sorry about what happened the last time. My parents said that they were only bringing me to meet some familiar uncles and aunties, but who'd have known, Mr. Lu, you wouldn't mind, would you?" The last time Lu Tingxiao had gone to observe their company's newly opened villa resort, Lu Chongshan and Yan Rui were also present at the villa on the pretense of enjoying a vacation with their friends. The people who were with them at that time were Zhuang family's elders and Zhuang Qier. As the resort owner and younger family member, Lu Tingxiao obviously had to host them, and it was then that he met Zhuang Qier once. Obviously, Lu Chongshan and Yan Rui's vacation was a front to try and matchmake him and Zhuang Qier. The plan was well thought out. They wanted to let the two young ones go shopping and have fun at the villa after meeting to let their feelings blossom. They did not expect that on that day, Lu Tingxiao would only accompany them for a half-an-hour meal and leave because of a work emergency. Lu Tingxiao nonchalantly said, "No worries." If it was not for their meeting today, he would have long forgotten such a thing had happened, so naturally, he did not mind at all. Zhuang Qier looked as if she was relieved of a burden and laughed, "That's good then, I was still worried that you would feel obliged. After all, it is pretty awkward for such a thing to have happened. Just like you, I was totally clueless then, so I understand how you felt." Zhuang Qier did not mention the matchmaking incident at all, neither did she hint it, nor did she act as if she liked Lu Tingxiao at all. Instead, she acted like she was in the same boat as him to start the conversation. That way, even if Lu Tingxiao was just being a gentleman, there was no way she could look shameless, and it was a common topic of conversation to chat about. Seeing that Zhuang Qier and Lu Tingxiao were having a good conversation, the other women at the party who were here to cozy up to Lu Tingxiao were unhappy. What the hell? Bro Xiao finally joined a party like this for once, and she decided to hog him to herself. Sigh, this is what a good family background is for. With the right foundation, you won't feel afraid of striking up a conversation. Her every move is elegant. She deserves the title as Imperial's #1 socialite. What #1 socialite? She immediately went up to hook up with a man in front of so many people. She's only had dinner with him once, but she's making it seem like the Lu family have already accepted her. Lu Jingli, on the other hand, was thinking about how Xiao Shishi was going to arrive soon and was worried if she would see anything that she should not have. He was suddenly so bothered that he did not even have the mood to flirt with the girls around him anymore. He carefully walked to his brother and said, "Bro, do you think we should just find an excuse to tell sister-in-law not to come anymore?" Explore Tati stories at no/l//bin.cm. Lu Tingxiao's long fingers tapped on the chair's arm rhythmically before he finally said, "She should already be on the way. I'll send her a message later to tell her to go to my place." He could not risk anything. He then stood up and looked like he was ready to leave. Zhuang Qier was not sure what Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli had whispered to each other, but as soon as they were done, he looked like he was going to leave. As much as she appeared nonchalant, it was inevitable that she could not hide her sense of disappointment and embarrassment as she pleaded with her eyes, "Mr. Lu, leaving so soon? Don't you want to stay for a little while longer? Is there some sort of emergency?" When she said this, everyone surrounding them instantly perked up their ears. What? Lu Tingxiao is leaving so soon? He hadn't even stayed for more than 5 minutes, had he? The fact that his own brother was going to leave after staying for such a short while was extremely embarrassing for Lu Jingli. However, it really was his fault for not planning properly tonight. Damn it! Why does Bro Xiao want to leave so soon? It must be because Zhuang Qier annoyed him. Most probably. CEO Lu enjoys his quiet time the most. All of us admire CEO Lu, but we didn't dare disturb him, yet she shamelessly walked up to annoy him. Now we don't even have the chance to ogle him for the rest of the night anymore. How annoying! Just because she has a decent family background, she thinks that she can act as she wishes now? Listening to the frustrated discussion around her, Zhuang Qier found it harder to ignore her annoyance. These god*mn women, what nonsense were they spewing? Lu Tingxiao was not leaving because he found her annoying. The last time she had met him, she was in love and had long decided on the man in front of her. She finally met him again today, so there was no way she would give up so easily. She was, after all, the Zhuang family's princess. Even if she stood beside the Lu family, everyone would have to say they were a good match, no matter who it was. She dared to say that in the entire Imperial, no one would suit Lu Tingxiao better than she did. And other than Lu Tingxiao, she was not interested in anyone else. Since she was young, as long as it was something she wanted, she would definitely get it. This time would be no different. In fact, the both of them definitely had some fateful coincidences between them. She had just returned from overseas that night when she heard from a friend that Lu Jingli had also just returned and was having a party. The cherry on top of that piece of news was that Lu Tingxiao would be coming as well. When she arrived, she saw him. Not only that, Lu Tingxiao, who had only ever worn cool colors, had actually broken tradition and wore a red tuxedo. In fact, it was the exact same color as her dress tonight. They were definitely meant to be. She felt so emotional that her heart was about to melt the moment she saw him. He was even more stunning than the first time they had met. This man! She must get her hands on him. When she thought about her end goal, Zhuang Qiu instantly regained her confident posture and chased after Lu Tingxiao, tittering in her 12-inch heels. "Mr. Lu, please wait for me, ah." The combination of the sky-high heels Zhuang Qiu wore that night and the wet poolside tiles, she slipped and lost her balance in the next moment. She could already feel herself fall embarrassingly into the pool. Zhuang Qiu's face twisted into a horrified and hopeless expression as she could already see everyone waiting to watch her fall in and laugh at her. "No, please no." Just as Zhuang Qiu shut her eyes, her heart sinking in humiliation, a black shadow suddenly whizzed over at lightning speed. Despite having a thin frame, a slight arm steadied her by the waist and she was soon pulled into a warm, safe embrace. The person managed to spin her around dramatically and save her before she fell into the water. A few meters away, Lu Jingli was stunned by the scene in front of him, as if he was watching a novel's male protagonist in action. The young man that had just made such an angel-like entrance and smoothly saved Zhuang Qiu made the cup in his hand fall to the ground as he stuttered, "Sister-in-law?" The man who held Zhuang Qiu by her waist and saved her wore a black jacket, with slightly messy hair and an attractive face that could charm both men and women. The most hypnotizing part was his pair of clear eyes, which drooped a little with a kind of lazy unruliness, yet he looked nonchalant, like nothing could really enter his heart. However, even if he were cruel, he was a charmer. But this man was practically an evil incubus here to charm mortals. New STRIs at n/vel/b/i/n.co. Zhuang Qiu thought that she was done for this time. With her ego, it was hard to imagine what would have happened if she had really fallen into the pool today. Thank God, she actually avoided the embarrassment. The strong grip around her waist gave her an air of fresh calmness. When she subconsciously looked up, she was met with a pair of charming eyes. "Are you all right?" This man was like the others who would try to take advantage of her even if nothing had happened to her. When she had finally steadied herself, he did not wait for another minute to take his arm away and remain at a safe distance from her. In fact, he very thoughtfully moved her far away from the edge of the pool and stood on the side of it by himself. Looking at the person in front of her, Zhuang Qiu felt her heart beat frantically as she tried to thank him. Thank you." The man's mouth curved into a smile and sparked ripples of unknown feelings in her stomach as he replied, "My honor." The buckle on Zhuang Qiu's heel had come undone because it was twisted earlier, so as soon as the man had replied her, he very naturally bent down to help her buckle her heels properly again. Then, he held out a hand to the girl. Zhuang Qiu's fingers trembled slightly and she hesitated shortly before slowly offering her hand to him. The moment she touched his fingers, her cheeks immediately blushed against her wishes. Apart from a palm supporting her, the man was not in contact with any other parts of her body, as he slowly walked with her, supporting her to sit down on a chair. Initially, everyone watching on the sidelines was waiting for Imperial's #1 socialite, Zhuang Qi, to make a fool of herself by falling into the water as a result of chasing a man. Who'd have known that at that moment, someone would appear out of thin air? In fact, this man was so quick that no one had noticed when he appeared. All the girls who had been complaining about a man who had ruined things were excitedly flushed at this point, even their words were all over the place. Oh, wow, he's handsome. Who's this man? Is it someone from within the circle? How have I never seen him? A certain socialite started to ask around as she blushed shyly. I don't know who that is either. But his skills are so impressive. That move earlier was so quick and smooth. Just like something we'd see on television. We've already seen Second Master and CEO Liu, so I thought I was immune to handsome men already. But what's happening? Why is my heart beating so fast? Ah. Me too, me too. I think it's love at first sight. What can we do? Who's that person? When did Second Master befriend someone like this? Ningxi's disguise was so good that even people who knew her could not realize that it was her. Of course, there were also exceptions. The moment she appeared, Lu Tingxiao could immediately recognize her. As for Lu Jingli, he was completely oblivious. It was only when he saw the baby little treasure behind Ningxi that he thought of her. Lu Jingli's brain was in a fog as he watched the situation unfold before him beyond control. The way Zhuang Qi looked at Ningxi became increasingly odd, and the group of girls fawning over Ningxi grew, some even bothering him to ask about her identity. Amazing, my bro, opft. It's sister-in-law. When she led Zhuang Qi to sit on the chair, Ningxi did not leave immediately. Instead, she got the waiter to deliver a pair of flats and medicinal oil to heal sprains to her. She only got up to leave after she had taught Zhuang Qi how to use it in detail. Ningxi was forever heartless to trashy men, but she would be unbelievably gentle towards cute and weak girls. To her, girls were born to be loved and taken care of. Upstada T from N, 0/V/LB/co/M. From a certain perspective, what Jiang Mai had said was not entirely wrong. One of Ningxi's hidden attributes was indeed a tenderness towards women. Zhuang Qi just nodded listlessly to what the person in front of her was saying when in reality, she had not heard a single word. She only reacted when she saw that her savior was about to leave. She subconsciously tugged on his clothes hem as she said, "Hold on." Ningxi stopped her steps and looked over suspiciously. The way her brows raised into an arch hooked into hearts around her. Zhuang Qi said in a shaky voice, I still don't really understand, can you help me? Ningxi's brow arch stayed raised in an obvious expression. She could see right through Zhuang Qi's heart. Zhuang Qi immediately had a regretful expression on her face. Damn it, what was she doing? How could she request such a thing? However, she could not control herself, she just did that subconsciously because he did not want him to leave. Of course. There was no way Ningxi would embarrass a girl publicly, so she kneeled on one knee and lightly held the girl's fair ankle, warning, it might hurt a little. Ah. Endure it for a while. If I don't use force, the blood clot will not subside. Later, when you go home to put it on yourself, remember to press on these 2 acupuncture points. Follow my way and press it 5 times, do it for 3 sets until you start to feel the heat. Remember all of this? I remember now. Zhuang Qi, who had always been arrogant, nodded obediently, even her voice softening quite a bit. No matter if it was the sunny and charming personality of Lu Jingli, or the cool Lu Tingxiao, they were at the peak of fighting for power, akin to the olden days of the royal family. Yet, this mysterious man had an entirely different charisma. He was like a lone wolf in an endless field, rid of worldly shackles and was not restricted at all, with no one to tame him. Even though he was in the hustle and bustle of the city, he was not bound by the mundane and was free like the wind. No one could hold him down. He could be gentle but would never stay for you. This was someone a socialite like Zhuang Qi had neither met nor experienced. It was inevitable that she would instantly fall for him. Not too far away, Lu Jingli was entirely stunned. Amazing! Sister-in-law is just talented at hitting the girls up. Once she made her move, even I gave in to her. Could it be that women understand women better? She's overwhelming. If I were a woman, I wouldn't be able to resist either. All of a sudden, a hard gaze that would chill one to the bones suddenly fell on him. Lu Jingli shivered, then carefully looked at his brother before shutting up. Lu Tingxiao was preparing to leave when he saw what happened. His eyes turned frigid and his beautifully carved face had a cold look on it. If there was a bar to indicate his anger above his head, it was currently increasing steadily. He was being careful because he was afraid his wife would misunderstand, but he never would have thought that he would be the one getting riled up and jealous. The person he was being match-made with had suddenly become his rival in love. When Ningxi's heroic scene of saving the beauty had finally ended, she held the little bun's hand before walking towards Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli. Her charm and aura were so powerful that it was only then that everyone noticed the little rice dumpling beside Ningxi too. Because those who were present were all close friends, many people immediately recognized the little bun. Ah! That little boy, isn't he CEO Lu's son? It is CEO Lu's son. I've met him once at Elder Lu's birthday banquet. Why would the Lu family's little master be so close to this guy? Could this man be a relative of the Lu family? Updates tnvel/by.com. Not necessarily a relative, but he must have a very close relationship with Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli. Since they have a close relationship, why haven't we seen him before then? This is just weird. The remarkable sight of a rebellious-looking handsome guy holding a little dumpling's hand was like an arrow shooting straight through the hearts of the girls present, causing a wave of shrieks again. After Ningxi put on her disguise, even her actions were naturally that of a man's. She naturally hugged Lu Tingxiao by the shoulders as a form of greeting, then stuffed the little bun into his arms, asking, "You're here so early?" Lu Tingxiao looked gloomy and his thin lips were about to part, as if he wanted to say something. However, at last, he did not say anything and just looked miserable. At last, Lu Jingli could not hold back and started demanding, "Xiao Shishi, what are you trying to do by dressing up like this?" The first thing Ningxi did was to order fruit juice and desserts for the little bun. Once the little bun was taken care of, she heard Lu Jingli's question and started to smile, her clear eyes looking teasingly at him. She then said matter-of-factly, "Of course, I'm trying to hit on the girls." Lu Jingli was confused and went on, "Please. Are you trying to crash my party? Let us single ones live it up. The supply of girls is already scarce. You're a girl and you're here to steal the girls from us. What are you trying to do?" Lu Jingli had intended to trick her but ended up as the fool, much to his chagrin. When the little bun was focused on his food, Ningxi took the opportunity to say in a lowered voice, "He, second master, let me remind you, you've stolen many men from girls as well." Lu Jingli choked, then softly mumbled, "Well, of course, my good looks attract both men and women. However, there were many admirers, but now, no matter if it's girls or guys, they've all been stolen by you." Among those who had asked about Ningxi earlier were some pretty girls and even a gay who shyly walked over to ask Ningxi's name and where she was from. He was about to offer himself up for marriage, and from his hints, if that was not possible, he would be up for a one-night stand too. As for Lu Tingxiao, apart from Zhuang Qi, no other girls dared to openly hit on him. However, Ningxi was different. Just as Ningxi sat down to chat with Lu Jingli, two girls had taken the initiative to strike up a conversation with Lu Tingxiao. In fact, The both of them were very beautiful women, the most sought-after twins by all the bachelors present. They were the spitting image of each other. They wore the same body-hugging dress, one in white and the other in black. The girl in black held a glass of red wine and looked at Ningxi flirtatiously. Then, she spoke flightily in front of Lu Jingli. "Bro Jingli, don't you want to introduce your new friend to us?" As he watched the twin look at Ningxi seductively, Lu Jingli felt his mouth twitch. Introduce, my ass. How was he supposed to introduce this person? As his sister-in-law? He felt psychologically exhausted. Lu Jingli held his forehead to hide his expression and mumbled, "The two of you, ask him yourself." The two girls looked at each other, then walked straight to Ningxi. The girls in white smiled sweetly. "Hi, I'm Qiao Yan." The girl in black raised her glass and echoed, "I'm Qiao Ran." "Shall we get to know each other?" Lu Jingli gritted his teeth and whispered into Ningxi's ear, "Xiao Shishi, you're quite the popular one. Big Qiao and Small Qiao have high standards. This is their first time taking the initiative to flirt with a guy." Ningxi shot Lu Jingli a look, then turned to the two girls and managed a short smile. "Nice to meet you." The younger sister, Qiao Ran, immediately sat on the sofa beside Ningxi and inched very closely, practically sticking onto her. "Handsome, what's your surname?" Ningxi helped the little bun cut the cake into smaller bits as she answered, "My surname is Tang." Even though Ningxi seemed nonchalant, Qiao Ran, who was only here on a manhunt, suddenly felt her heart skip a beat watching her thoughtfully take care of the kid. She only broke out of her daydream after a while and returned to smiling sweetly. "Bro Tang, is it?" "Bro Tang, you seem really skilled in fighting," the older sister Qiao Yan asked with obvious interest. Ningxi smiled and tousled the little bun's soft hair as she leaned on his forehead to answer Qiao Yan, "Not really, just some freestyle martial arts." As they chatted, little Qiao immediately clung onto Ningxi and gushed, "Bro Tang, you're so humble. We sisters have been interested in such things since a young age. Sadly, our family won't let us learn it. Bro Tang, would you teach us?" Ningxi shot a look at the girl's uncomfortably close body and said without a change in expression, "Such a thing is not suitable for you girls. I follow US stories at nvl/by/n.com. Lu Jingli coughed from the sidelines. "Not suitable for you girls? You punk, aren't you a girl?" She was too into her acting role now. After getting rejected, little Qiao immediately asked sadly, "Bro Tang, are you only saying this because you hate us?" "I'm afraid of hurting you too. However, I could teach you a few styles of simple self-defense." "Okay. Bro Tang, you're really kind." This was when a few other girls saw the opportunity to join the crowd too. Can we join you? We want to learn too." The group of girls who came up to Ningxi pushed Lu Jingli to the side until he had nowhere to sit and he could just walk to the only place where the girls did not dare step foot in, which was the space beside his brother. He said bitterly to him, "Bro, do I still need to tell sister-in-law to leave?" Lu Jingli regretted it almost instantly after saying that. "Leave, my ass." Ningxi was practically fitting in here, they were worrying for nothing. Now, the person he should be worried about was his brother. It was blatantly obvious that Lu Tingxiao's anger bar chart was continuing to accumulate. There was a saying that went, if one does not erupt in silence, one would be destroyed in silence. Lu Jingli had a bad premonition as his eyelids started to twitch non-stop. He felt like something earth-shatteringly frightening might happen tonight. It could not go on like this, he had to think of something. Lu Jingli anxiously scratched the back of his ears, then suddenly his eyes shone and he grabbed the little bun. He held his little shoulders and said with a serious tone, "Little treasure, how can you only think of eating? Quickly ignite your galaxy fighting skills. Your Auntie Xiaoxi is about to be taken away." The little bun held a cup of fruit juice and had buttercream on one side of his mouth. He blinked innocently without any sense of urgency. They were all girls, why would he need to fight them? The little bun looked down and started to write on his writing board, girls. Gee, girls, they are all girls, that's right, but it's not just men you have to be careful of, girls are even scarier, okay? Lu Jingli was completely at a loss, not knowing how to explain the crisis at hand to the little bun. Damn it, even little treasure was unreliable. The fact that the situation had progressed as such irked some people to the point that they could no longer look on at the scene unfolding before them. Some people would include the bachelors present. Everyone in the circle knew that a party by Lu Jingli would be filled with the most pretty girls, and of the utmost quality too. That was why the moment they received news, the bachelors who were all immediately howled their way over. One of Lu Jingli was enough to steal all the limelight, and now with Lu Tingxiao present, there was no place for them at all. Furthermore, when Lu Tingxiao was about to leave earlier, not only did he fail to, a heavy-duty atomic bomb had also made its way over to the party. And now, this random punk who had appeared out of nowhere had saved their goddess, Zhuang Qier, even stealing all the attention of the women. How could they not hate him? With envy and jealousy boiling in them, fueled by hatred, they wanted to sabotage the Casanova. A brown-haired man walked over and handed Ningxi a cigarette, while he squinted with an unfriendly expression. Brother, we've never seen you before. Thanks, I'm quitting smoking. Ningxi did not accept the cigarette and took out a lollipop from Little Treasure's pocket to start sucking on that instead. Ningxi was indeed quitting smoking, but such an action was obviously seen as arrogance and not giving face. The man's expression darkened as he restrained himself, anger flashing across his eyes as he said, Bro, shall we play? Ningxi obviously knew what the bachelors present had in mind. She was gentle to girls but not to men. Since these people were submitting themselves for torture, she obviously would not be soft on them, and she replied instantly, okay. Then, she rubbed the little bun's head and said softly, Little Treasure, go wait over there with your father for a while. I'll go over to look for you real soon. Little Treasure nodded and obediently went to look for his father. Not too far away, Lu Tingxiao watched his son run over him in clumsy steps and felt as though his wife was one of those carefree, do-as-she-pleases women outside while he was left at home to take care of the kid. On the other end of the room, the men started to play games. The table was fully lined up with alcohol bombs for the loser to drink. These bachelors were all familiar with this game, and all of them had the same revengeful intent to let Ningxi make a fool of herself, wanting to make her piss drunk. At the start, Lu Tingxiao was a little worried Ningxi would be taken advantage of. However, he noticed very quickly that he had little to be concerned about. Get latest CHDers on nvelbj/n.c/m. Whether it came to cards or dice, Ningxi did not lose a single game. Instead, it was those men who had intentionally picked on her who were losing horribly. They lay sprawled across the table and drank until they were about to throw up. On the other hand, Ningxi, who had not drunk a single sip of alcohol, sat leisurely in the middle of the sofa, successfully harvesting all the hearts of the girls present. She probably had also turned some people gay on the spot. It's no fun playing with you. You guys suck and you keep on losing. Why don't we play truth or dare, suggested Small Chow, excitement practically throbbing all over her face. Even though it was just a brief moment of meeting him, her interest in this man was piqued to an intense level. Most importantly, she realized that Zhuang Qier was interested in him as well, but because of her social standing and her ties with Lu Tingxiao, she was not in the right position to make any move. She just watched them from a corner of the room instead. Small Chow had always gotten a kick out of harassing Zhuang Qier, so she signaled her sister as they prepared to get into action. Truth or dare was the best way to create sparks among people in a party setting, and Big Chow was good at playing the game. Basically, she could make anyone her target as long as she intended for them to be. Of course, that was provided that Ningxi did not do anything out of her expectations. Small Chow held on Ningxi's arm and coyly said, "Bro Tang, that was your way of playing with the boys, but you can't bully us when you're playing with us." Ningxi would never try anything funny with the girls. It would all depend on luck, so she assured them, of course not. Small Chow was satisfied and she gave Big Chow another signal before starting the game. Unfortunately, luck was not on Ningxi's side tonight and she was it for a few rounds. Even though she knew that the twins had done something to the cards intentionally, she did not mind at all and played along. In the first round. "Bro Tang, truth or dare?" Small Chow asked with a sweet smile. Ningxi thought for a while before answering, "Truth." Usually, the first question would be to test the waters and should not be a controversial one. As expected, Small Chow asked a key question, but it was an easy one. "Bro Tang, do you have a girlfriend?" Obviously, many of them wanted to know as well and even Small Chow was nervous. "Nope," Ningxi answered them straightforwardly. "Really? Bro Tang, don't try to lie to me." Ningxi smiled, "Of course not, it's the truth." Even though she said it very casually, her eyes shone and made people feel that she was telling the truth. Many of the girls were excited after they heard Ningxi's answer, vesting more interest in the game now although they knew that the twins were rigging it. The second time, Ningxi was it once again. Small Chow cocked her head and urged, "Bro Tang, what about this time? Truth or dare?" "Truth." The questions might get more exciting than the first one but should still be manageable. Small Chow acted like she was thinking really hard, then she asked slowly, "Bro Tang, how many girlfriends have you had before?" All West ch.rs on n.o/vli/n/.cm. Ningxi was not surprised but she raised her eyebrows and answered honestly, sorry, I can't remember." She really forgot how many guys she had ever toyed with, only Jiang Mai was still in contact with her now. Ningxi stole a glance at the devil hidden in the shadows of the corner while she answered the question. "How naughty, Bro Tang." "I knew it, you must have had a lot of girlfriends before." Small Chow pouted. It was expected that a charming man like him did, she was just asking out of curiosity. The third time when Ningxi was it again, she did not pick truth anymore. Dare. When Ningxi was it again for the third time, she did not pick truth anymore. Dare. If she continued to choose truth, Small Chow would never let her get away with any more simple questions. Who knew what sort of questions she would ask this time? If the devil was not here, she would not mind answering anything but the devil was sitting right there, so she dared not to go overboard. Although Lu Tingxiao was just sitting in the corner like an invisible wallflower, Ningxi could detect his presence at all times and she felt his gaze getting sharper by the minute. Someone who was jealous of Gong Xiangzhou would not be jealous of these girls, would he? Small Chow was a little disappointed when Ningxi chose dare because her questions that she had mentally prepared would not be used but she had an alternative. Small Chow coughed lightly, then announced her plan. "Dare, Bro Tang, the task is easy, pick one of the girls among us tonight to be your girlfriend for half a day." Small Chow felt bashful following the split-second stunned silence that came after. A man would surely understand what she meant. If he picked her, even if it was just a name game, she could make the act become the real deal. Half a day would transform into eternity. All West ch.rs on n.o/vli/n/.cm. Actually, at first she was going to ask for a kiss but she changed her mind. A kiss was not enough and she wanted more, she simply wanted everything from this man. Everyone understood what Small Chow implied after hearing her request and all the girls were jealous but they kept quiet because they knew that they could not do anything against the twins. All the men were also helplessly watching this new kid snatch away their girls. "Oh, my goddess Small Chow. Damn it!" "Don't worry, with Small Chow gone, there's still Big Chow." Big Qiao wouldn't be straggling far behind after Small Qiao was picked. They think alike, so naturally, they'd like the same type of guys. This kid settled Small Qiao, which means Big Qiao will fall right into his hands as well. This is what I call heavenly blessings. Damn it! Where did this kid come from? He just stole all our girls. Second Master, what are you doing? What about the singles party you promised us? You said that there'd be a bunch of pretty girls for us single ones, is this what you meant by that? Lu Jingli was annoyed that he was suddenly targeted, so he just replied, all of you can't even beat this one guy, can you blame me for that? He was not cruel enough to tell them that they had lost to a girl. Small Qiao was patiently waiting for the man's answer, then she looked at Zhuang Qi. At the corner, Zhuang Qi chewed on her lower lip apprehensively after she was provoked by Small Qiao. She did not want to see them anymore, but she refused to leave, convincing herself that her target was Lu Tingxiao and not the mysterious man. Lu Tingxiao's treasured son was here today as well, so she should probably attempt to get closer to Lu Tingxiao and his son while everyone was focused on Ningxi. Although Zhuang Qi tried to convince herself to move on, her eyes and heart refused to listen, her attention kept returning to Ningxi and Small Qiao. It was nerve-wracking. Would that man, would he really pick Small Qiao? How could it be? She was the one who came into contact with this man first. Zhuang Qi could not watch this go on, her anger building up, and she did not want to just sit there and wait like a fool. Suddenly, everyone's eyes landed on Ningxi. Ningxi did not expect that Small Qiao would ask for such a thing, it sure made the situation a little awkward. Aside from the fact that the devil might already be jealous, even if the devil was not around, she still had her rationality intact. If it was just fooling around like giving Small Qiao a harmless kiss, Ningxi had no qualms about it. However, when it came to something as serious as being a girlfriend, even if it was an act, she could not bring herself to do it. She could toy around with guys, but she would never break a girl's heart. She did not want to give a girl false hope for something that was impossible. At first, Small Qiao was just having fun, but in between the games, Ningxi glimpsed a sense of seriousness in the girl's eyes. Ningxi stopped decisively. I'm sorry, I'll take the punishment and drink 3 shots, Ningxi replied. Everyone was surprised by her answer. They all thought that Ningxi and Small Qiao would get together tonight. No one expected Ningxi to take the punishment at the last moment. Especially Small Qiao, with disbelief clearly written on her face. Bro Tang, why? Ningxi smiled, and in a relaxed tone, she said, there are too many pretty girls tonight and I couldn't pick one, so I'll pass. She knew that Ningxi was trying to give her a way out, but Small Qiao was stubborn. She ignored her sister's reminder and threw her own reputation to the wind as she said, Bro Tang, don't try to fool your way through, I want to know the reason. Why? Not minding the crowd around her, the girl had tears in her eyes and her disappointment was obvious. Ningxi, what a headache! It was over now, things were getting out of hand. Basically, everyone who knew Ningxi well enough knew that she would freak out if a girl cried in front of her. Ningxi's heart tightened when she saw Small Qiao about to cry. Small Qiao, don't cry, EAD new chapter S on no/v/e/ln.com. She was thinking about how to handle the situation with the least damage. Could she possibly go along with Small Qiao's request first so that the girl would not feel embarrassed? Anyway, she was at fault tonight. Lu Jingli wiped his face anxiously and prepared for the worst. He totally understood Ningxi's personality. She would probably agree with Small Qiao's request under the attack of the pitiful tears. Everyone including Lu Jingli was focused on Ningxi and Small Qiao. No one noticed the devil had gotten up from his seat. Not a single person saw Lu Tingxiao stand up and walk slowly towards Ningxi. Until As Ningxi was about to agree to the request, she felt a vice grip on her wrist and she was enveloped in an icy cold embrace. All of a sudden, a fiery kiss was unleashed, accurately landing on her lips. At that exact moment, only the clanking of plates and utensils was heard and everyone's breath was stuck in their throats. Lu Jingli was shocked and threw up the alcohol he had drunk. The ointment in Zhuang Qir's grip fell onto the floor and was now in shattered pieces. Big Qiao's mouth was parted in a surprised "oh." Small Qiao was totally in shock. The other person who was even more shocked than Small Qiao was Ningxi herself. What the heck? What was the devil doing? Before Ningxi's eyes could pop out, Lu Tingxiao slowly lifted his lips from hers, but he still held by her waist as if declaring his dominance over her. He looked at the dumbfounded Small Qiao with his sharp eyes, then asked in a deep voice, "Are there any more problems?" She had been asking Ningxi why was she not picked. Now she shook her head from side to side vigorously like a bobblehead doll. Bro Tang had not lied to her. Indeed, there was no girlfriend. But he had a boyfriend. And his boyfriend was Lu Tingxiao. Oh, my God! Lu Jingli put his hands to his forehead, feeling sorry for the girl who seemed like her brain was getting fried. Silly child, there are so many more guys in the world, yet you were trying to snatch the tiger's prey. Get latest Devil CHDers on nve.lbj/n.c/m. Ningxi tried to break free of Lu Tingxiao's hold. She struggled and failed, trying very hard not to hit him. Lu Tingxiao, are you crazy? Do you know what you are doing? Lu Tingxiao had not a drop of regret, replying as a matter-of-factly, "I'm handling trouble." Ningxi was speechless and really wished that she could sink into the floor. Even if he was trying to help her out of the situation, did he not realize that she was assuming a man's identity? Kissing in public was enough of a shocker, what more that they seemed to be two guys going at it. She was fine with it since no one knew her, but it was different for his case. Did he think the earlier rumors were not exaggerative enough? It was still a rumor the last time, but now he had made it a fact. This man is simply too capricious for his own good. Ningxi huffed in anger, "Let go!" Not only did he tighten her grip on her, upon he seeing the masked worry within the girl's incensed eyes, he even closed in on her and kissed her again. Ningxi was in shock as she felt the warmth on her lips again. What was happening? Was the devil infected with some sort of virus? Splash! Some unlucky guy was too shocked and lost his balance, accidentally falling into the pool. Yet again, for the second time, jaws dropped as those present were stunned to see what was happening in front of them. What was going on? They were privy to such a big secret tonight. Could they still leave the place alive? But even though they were both men, but it felt like they were actually a perfect match for each other. One was wild and precocious, the other one was strong and dominant, their kiss making people blush and heart rates present race through the roof. Wake up! Wake up! How could they have such creepy thoughts? Her chin was held firmly by his calloused fingers, her lips starting to feel numb. Ningxi was terrified. She would not have flirted had she known that this would happen. The frightening devil did not care about her feelings at all. She did not expect the devil would actually be jealous of a girl, and such intensely jealous too. Lu Tingxiao took his own sweet time and tasted her lips as if he was carefully enjoying the nectar of the gods, but of course, he stopped right before Ningxi was about to explode. Ningxi's heart was racing quickly as she clenched her teeth together and raised her arms. She wanted to rip her wig off her head. Things had finally unraveled to that point and she could not let people misunderstood that he was gay, could she? Lu Tingxiao knew exactly what she wanted to do, so he grabbed her hands and stopped her. His eyes were focused on the person in front of him as if only she existed in this world. He told her quietly, "You don't have to. Isn't it better this way? No other woman will come near me the next time." Ningxi was astounded, her heartbeat almost at a roar now. Damn it! The devil was being too much. That ultimate move of his. She almost wanted to kiss him back. I'll go to the washroom. In the end, Ningxi broke off the kiss, freeing herself of Lu Tingxiao's hands and went to the toilet hastily. Lu Tingxiao's eyes shone, watching the girl's back as she fled the scene. He then looked at everyone present, his gentle gaze quickly freezing into an ice-cold stare. Small Qiao was holding on to Big Qiao in extreme terror. Ah! Sis! What have I done? What have I done? Bro Xiao is going to kill me. I just tried to steal his man. Big Qiao was in deep shock as well, but she tried to comfort her. Keep calm, nothing bad will happen to you. You didn't know anything, plus they didn't say anything, we're innocent. You updates tnvel/by.com. No wonder he's so close to Bro Xiao and Bro Jingli. Even little treasure. I'm so stupid, why didn't I think of their relationship earlier? The twins hid in the corner and tried to be invisible to the people around them. The Fujoshis among the crowd were practically having a nosebleed and everyone was raving about what had just happened. It has been a rumor for so many years that CEO Lu liked guys. It's just that no one went public with it, so it isn't really a surprise, is it? Right, but to see it with my own eyes. The impact was too difficult to put into words. Many others nodded in agreement, the impact was powerful. Some people shrugged it off, our society is way ahead now. This is completely normal. I'm not discriminating against the two of them. Plus, they actually looked really good together. That Tang guy looked even prettier than some of the ladies here tonight and they don't look weird together. Many of them agreed, that kid is so arrogant that no woman could possibly hold him down. He definitely needs someone like Bro Xiao to tame him. Heh, that might not be the case. Bro Xiao was here just now and he was already flirting with everyone. First, it was the top socialite of Beijing, and then there were the twin sisters. In the end, Bro Xiao had to step in and publicize their relationship. Bro Xiao was totally under control. Tisk, no wonder Bro Xiao likes him so much. Standing in front of the washroom entrance, Ningxi almost walked into the ladies' toilet. She abruptly realized her mistake and rushed to the opposite door. She calmed herself down after splashing some water onto her face, but when she came out of the washroom, there was someone waiting for her in the corridor, Zhuang Qi. When she was having fun with Big Qiao and Small Qiao's group, they gossiped a lot and Ningxi had heard about Zhuang Qi and her relationship with Lu Tingxiao. She did not really know how to face Zhuang Qi now, so she decided not to do anything first. As expected, when Zhuang Qi saw that she was silent, she spoke up. I know it might be inappropriate for me to ask this, but is it true that you and Lu Tingxiao are really in a relationship? Ningxi frowned. It seemed like she was here to confront the person who had stolen her crush. While the Zhuang family of Imperial might not measure up to the Lu family in business, their background was not to be underestimated. Even with the prestige of the Lu family, the Zhuangs were not people that they could mess with. In fact, they had various angles in which they were important. In Lu Chongshan's eyes, the best candidate to be his daughter-in-law was Zhuang Qi because he wanted to use the Zhuang family as an insurance to help solidify the Lu family's power. And the Zhuang family had a special relationship with Ningxi. The head of the Zhuang family, Zhuang Zongren, had one son and 3 daughters, and Ningxi's mother, Zhuang Lingyu, was his youngest daughter. When she was young, she insisted on marrying Ning Yaohua and was disowned by Zhuang Zongren. The estranged pair of father and daughter had not been in contact at all for the past 20 years. Aside from some of the elders who were involved, most people thought that Zhuang Zongren only had 2 daughters. Not even the youngsters in the Zhuang family knew about this. Ningxi overheard about this fiasco during a conversation between Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua. Ning Yaohua was involved in some sort of trouble and she hoped that Zhuang Lingyu could go home to ask for help, but the latter refused and said something like she would never ever go back. Get latest double CHDers on NVE/LBJ/N.C/M. Zhuang Qi was Zhuang Zhongren's granddaughter, so biologically speaking, they were cousins. This was really complicated. However, come to think of it, Ning Shi did not really mind. Since she did not acknowledge Zhuang Lingyu as her mother now, she would not care about some faraway grandfather or cousin. What if it's true? And what if it's not? Ning Shi replied Zhuang Qi with a question instead. If it's not? Zhuang Qi's voice shook. She really hoped that it was not true, but it was impossible. After all that they had done, she was just lying to herself. At last, Zhuang Qi took a deep breath and returned to her calm expression. If it's true, then I'll give up. Huh? Ning Shi was surprised by her reply. It was unexpected, considering her prideful personality. Zhuang Qi held her fist tight and looked at her with fiery eyes. I was pretty confident about getting to Lu Tingxiao at first, but since it's come to you, I'll not fight with you for him. Zhuang Qi quickly excused herself before she could have an emotional breakdown. Ning Shi looked at the stubbornly arrogant Zhuang Qi's silhouette, leaving speechlessly. Something was not right. Did she get the wrong message? Why did it feel like Zhuang Qi loved her instead of Lu Tingxiao? The party was still going on outside, but apparently, everyone was not in the mood to have fun anymore. Lu Jingli saw a few ladies leave quietly. All of them were originally here to get closer to Lu Tingxiao, but they all gave up now. Bro, what a great idea! Not only did you expel the potential opponents, you even settled the women who were chasing after you. What a clever move! Lu Jingli gushed to his brother, impressed. At this moment, Lu Jingli did not realize that while it was true his brother had no more trouble, things were going south very soon. An onlooking crowd welcomed Ning Shi with curious gazes after she came out of the bathroom. Apart from them, the little bun rushed towards her quickly. His face clearly expressed a message. Little Treasure was angry. Hugs and kisses to heal his broken heart and soul. Auntie Xiao, she had actually kissed father, and moreover, it was twice. Twice. Ning Shi instantly knew what the small kid was thinking, so she generously gave him 2 big kisses and held him tightly in her arms. Then she walked towards Lu Tingxiao. A waiter came over with 2 glasses of warm milk the moment Ning Shi sat down. Lu Tingxiao handed a glass of milk to his son and the other glass to Ning Shi, then he lay on the sofa in a relaxed posture and put his hand on the back of the sofa where Ning Shi sat, exhibiting his dominance. He was sending a message to the floor: personal property, no trespassing. Don't even look. His silent message was super effective. Everyone backed off and chatted among their own groups while enjoying some drinks, not daring to stare at Ning Shi anymore. The devil's kiss solved most of the problems that had cropped up earlier, and Ning Shi was a lot more relaxed now. But she was still worried. Lu Tingxiao, is it really okay to have them misunderstand you? Lu Tingxiao nodded. Don't worry, the rumor will dissolve itself the day you become my wife. Ning Shi was speechless. If that day did not come, he would be misunderstood as being gay his whole life. Lu Jingli could not stand it anymore. Guys, can you please be more considerate? I'm getting goosebumps. The little bun was falling asleep since his usual bedtime was around 9 or 10 o'clock, and the milk helped to induce his sleepiness. Ariad updated stirise at n/vel/bin.com. Lu Tingxiao saw his son rub his eyes, so he brought the boy closer to him and tried to help him sleep more comfortably. But the little boy did not compromise, quickly backing off and sticking to Ning Shi. He even grabbed onto Ning Shi's neck tightly as if telling his father, I know what you're thinking, don't you dare separate me from Auntie Xiao Shi. The little boy had been on alert this whole time after his father had kissed Ning Shi. It seemed like the son-father alliance was disintegrating. Lu Jingli gloated at his brother and almost laughed out loud. No matter how perfect a plan was, there would always be a flaw. His brother could settle so many people, yet he forgot about his own son. Ningxi was worried about Little Treasure, so she picked him up and wanted to leave. Second Master, please continue having fun without us. Little Treasure is getting tired, I'll take him back to rest. He's still growing right now, we shouldn't let him stay up too late. Lu Jingli was annoyed seeing Ningxi's kind and motherly side. He could not believe that she was the same person who had caused all the trouble earlier. Ningxi held Little Treasure in her arms as Lu Tingxiao took off his maroon coat and put it on Ningxi. He then put his hand over her shoulder and they walked out together. TSK, they looked like an actual family together. Although Lu Tingxiao had warned the crowd, everyone still stared at them in surprise when they saw the maternal side of the guy named Tang. It did not add up to his flirtatious side at all. Their sharp stares softened just by looking at Ningxi in such a position. Oh no! Stop looking! What if they were not straight? After all, he was the person who turned Lu Tingxiao gay. The guys were trying to calm themselves down while the girls' hearts had been stolen away long ago. Even though they knew that he liked men, they still could not help but fall for him. He looked even more charming while holding the child, how gentle. Small Qiao tucked herself into her sister's arms, feeling really sad. I feel so blue, the two men that I liked the most. They got together. I actually experienced 2 breakups in one night. Big Qiao was not sure how to console her sister. Well, technically, she was not wrong, it was really 2 breakups. Small Qiao put her hand on her chest dramatically as she said, hot guys are already so scarce, yet the both of them got together. 2 top-notch men just went to waste. My heart hurts. Big Qiao tried to comfort her, don't worry, there's still Bro Jingli here. Small Qiao did not look impressed. No. Lu Jingli is too flirtatious. He's not my type. I don't want him, no matter how handsome he looks. Lu Jingli had just passed by Small Qiao and almost stumbled after he overheard what she had said. What the heck? I'm flirtatious? Fine, I admit that I'm flirtatious. But am I as flirtatious as your bro Tang? Your bro Tang had had his hands over both men and women, you foolish girls. Lu Jingli sent the 3 of them off to the entrance, feeling sorry for himself, but he still supported his brother. It's really late already, it'd be troublesome to go back to your place. Why don't you just stay at my brother's place for a night? Ah, how selfless was he! If there was an award for the best younger brother, he would win, hands down. Ningxi thought about it. The little bun's dad stayed just right beside here and it was troublesome to bring the little bun all the way back to her apartment. Sure, I'm okay with it, Ningxi replied. Read the latest stories and novelbin.com. They started walking towards Lu Tingxiao's place. When they were reaching the entrance, the little bun stirred a little in Ningxi's arms. He went mad when he saw the familiar building. He grabbed on Ningxi's clothes and shook his head. He really did not want to go in. No, no, no. Not going to leave Auntie Xiaoxi. Apparently, the little bun thought that Ningxi was going to send him back home. Ningxi comforted him gently, Little Treasure, I'm not leaving you here. I'm staying here with you for the night, we'll leave together back to my place tomorrow morning, alright? The little bun was still half asleep, unsure if he had heard what Ningxi said, but he kept shaking his head and was almost on the verge of crying. He just desperately did not want to go in, reacting as if it was the devil's den. Ningxi looked at Lu Tingxiao helplessly. What should we do? Lu Tingxiao sighed, it's all right, I'll send you back. Son, please don't betray me. I'll not kiss her in front of you next time, okay? On the next morning, while Lu Jingli was still dreaming about successfully getting some pretty ladies, suddenly, his room door was flung open violently. Bam! What happened? Who was that? Damn it, he sleeps naked. Was someone going to rape him? Lu Jingli's first reaction was to cover himself up with a blanket, then he saw something much worse than a nightmare. Both his parents were standing by his bed looking enraged as if they were going to beat him up any second like they did when he had poked a beehive for fun. Lu Jingli was terrified and any sense of sleepiness vanished altogether. Father, mother, what are you doing here this early? You bastard! I'm going to kill you! Yan Rui started attacking him without explaining a thing, Lu Chongshan joining in with his walking stick as well. Lu Jingli rolled across the bed to evade his parents' attack. Wow! What are you guys doing? Don't aim for my face. Am I really your son? Don't grab my blanket, I'm naked, can we talk after I put on some clothes? I'll give you 2 minutes, come out quickly. Yan Rui went out with her husband and closed the door. The two of them waited in the living room angrily. Lu Jingli quickly dressed up, then opened the window. He would be a fool to go out there obediently. It must have been something terrible for them to bother him this early in the morning. Too bad for him, Lu Chongshan expected his little trick and caught him red-handed. Bastard, I knew you were going to run away. Come here! In the end, Lu Jingli could not escape his fate. Lu Jingli sat on the sofa while scratching his head with a scowl. So, what happened? Most up-to-date novels are published on n0velgen.co/m. How dare you ask us what happened? You tell us what happened last night. Don't tell me that you don't know. Lu Chongshan glared stormily at his son. Lu Jingli shrugged innocently. What happened last night? I organized a party. Don't play dumb. Someone told me that your brother kissed a man in front of everyone. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Lu Chongshan fumed. What, so, that's it? What's with that attitude? This is a serious matter. Lu Jingli pleaded innocently, please, father and mother, it was brother who kissed a man and not me. He stays just right beside me, so why don't you go and bother him instead of beating me up? This is so unfair. Lu Chongshan's face darkened. You dare say that it wasn't your idea? Who else can it be other than you? Of course, I'm going to beat you up. Lu Jingli complained unhappily, what the heck? Why is it my idea now? It was brother's own will and action. I was shocked as well, I'm a victim too. Lu Chongshan and Yan Rui hesitated when they saw Lu Jingli's genuine expression. Lu Jingli then continued, and why would you think that it's fake? It might be possible that my brother really likes men. Lu Chongshan's rage surged again. Nonsense. I'm going to kill you if you keep spouting crap. Your brother already has a son, do you think he would like a man now? And he practically turned into putty being charmed by that woman before. This must be part of his plans. Lu Jingli calmly raised his eyebrows. That might not be the case anyhow, it wasn't my idea, I don't know anything about it. We already knew that he was not sure about his sexual orientation before. What happened 5 years ago was a setup by me and he almost became estranged with everyone here. And now Ningxi has appeared and thank goodness that she is a woman. Yet, the both of you are getting in their way and forcing brother to marry someone he doesn't like. With such a difficult love life, who'd have known if he has suffered from some emotional trauma? Then, he might get fed up and end up liking men instead. Come to think of it, it is possible. Lu Jingli's words really terrified both Lu Chongshan and Yan Rui. This was the one thing that worried them the most. Even though it might just be a plot of their son's, they still had to make sure of it. Lu Chongshan looked really unwell and in the end, he spoke up, "Help me send a word to your brother. If he wants to marry that woman, he can go ahead. Find updated evils on n/v/elben. co/m." Lu Jingli was exhilarated but only for a moment as he knew that his father would have something else to say. True enough, he continued, as long as he agrees to these requirements. What requirements? First and foremost, she needs to quit the entertainment industry. Secondly, cover up her background. We will find a suitable identity for her to assume. Thirdly, before she comes into our family, she will need to undergo some finishing education regarding manners and appropriate behavior. Lu Jingli picked his ears as if he thought he misheard and interrupted, "Father, I don't have to go and tell brother anymore. I'll reply you on his behalf." What are you trying to say? Lu Chongshan asked with a deep, threatening voice. Father, you're not being sincere. You might as well not let them marry at all. Lu Chongshan was astonished. What do you mean? He had spent a whole night coming up with this idea. He could never accept that woman, but he could still compromise, so he tried his best to think of a way to have an ideal outcome. How was that not sincere? Lu Jingli sighed, "Father, let me tell you, the woman brother likes is a wolf. What you're trying to do is to bring the wolf from the forest into a zoo and trap it inside a cage. You're going to paint it white, remove its teeth and claws, put it on a leash, and hand it to my brother, then say, 'Here you go, your favorite wolf cub is here.' How do you think brother would feel? You're not doing this for his sake, you're destroying what he loves." Yan Rui frowned and flared her nostrils. "Jingli, your analogy isn't appropriate. We're just trying to make the girl a better person in order to become Tingxiao's wife and Little Treasure's mother." Fine, then I'll use another example. Do you remember when I was still a child, I really liked a bunny? In the end, it died of sickness and I was sad to the point that I had no appetite for a few days, and you guys brought me another bunny that looked similar to make me happy. Do you remember how I reacted? Yan Rui nodded. You didn't want it, you asked me to send it away. Yes, even if it was the same, I knew that it was not the one I liked from before, yet now you're turning a wolf into a puppy. Heck, they are even of different species. There are a lot of people who are suitable for my brother, but so what if he and Little Treasure don't like them? When he reached the office in the afternoon, Lu Jingli reported what had happened to his brother. Of course, he exaggerated how he used his extraordinary talking skills to convince their parents and to turn the tables. Although it wasn't settled in the end, it's still a good sign. Father and mother weren't even considering her before, but at least they are trying now. Bro, I think your plan can continue, just a few more times and they might really just agree to anything. Lu Jingli had a smug look on his face. Lu Tingxiao dared not remind his brother that if their parents were to give up on him, the Lu family still had another son. If it came to that point, it would be the second son who would be forced to marry. As the brothers were talking, someone knocked on the office door. Little Treasure walked in and the one who followed behind him was not Ningxi but was Gong Shangze. Lu Tingxiao frowned a little. Where's Ningxi? For some reason, Gong Shangze always freaked out when he saw this man, so he replied carefully, "CEO Lu, sis, she mentioned she had something urgent, so she didn't come up. She asked me to inform you that she'll be back in around 2 hours to get Little Treasure." An urgent matter? Lu Tingxiao scanned his calendar and realized that it was Ningxi's grandfather's birthday. She had probably gone back home. Lu Tingxiao was worried, not feeling at ease to have Ningxi go back alone, but since it was just a short 2 hours, there should not be any issue. She probably just went back to wish her grandfather. Lu Jingli was suddenly revived as he looked at Gong Xiangzi. Did something happen when I wasn't here? Who are you? Why are you so close to Xiao Shishi? Find updates on n/v/elbin.co/m. Gong Xiangzi guessed that this man was probably the owner of Glory World Entertainment, Ningxi's superior Lu Jingli, so he respectfully replied, "Hello, I'm..." After Lu Jingli finished hearing Gong Xiangzi's introduction, he said to his brother, "Damn, bro, you're really generous, letting a pretty boy go near sister-in-law. Aren't you worried that she'd eat him up?" Lu Tingxiao glanced at the nervous Lu Jingli and replied with just 3 words, "There's little treasure." Lu Jingli was speechless. His brother, what a move. No wonder he did not take little treasure back home to create more chances to meet Ningxi. Instead, he sent little treasure to stay with her. That way, he would have a top spy and an advanced love rival repellent right beside her. Utilizing his son to the fullest, little treasure and Ningxi probably felt grateful for him. At the Ning family residence. Today was the 70th birthday of the Ning family elder, Ning Ziyuan, and a huge number of guests were invited to celebrate. Ning International was doing exceptionally well in the hands of the eldest son Ning Yaohua, and they were going to be affiliated with the Su family through their children's marriage, so the number of people attending was extraordinary. Despite being extremely busy, the maids and waiters looked happy. The master was powerful and they took pride in their job as well. No matter where they went, telling people that they worked for the Ning family would attract envy. In the banquet hall, the decoration looked glamorous. All the guests and relatives were wishing the elder and greeting him with auspicious words. Without a doubt, everyone was focused on the current head, Ning Yaohua, and his family. The guests attending were all powerful people from the city. Aside from Ning Yaohua's business partner, there was also Ning Xuelua's powerful friends within the industry. All the other relatives were jealous of them but still fawned over them for the sake of their benefit. "Ling Yu, you're so blessed, your husband is so capable and so is your daughter. I'm really envious of your daughter. Not only is she pretty, she's getting more and more popular. Apart from her acting career, she has even started a company of her own. I know, right? Her brand is even famous overseas. Many friends of mine were asking me to make a reservation for them for the latest items." Ning Xuelua felt a little shy from all the compliments. "Uncle, aunt, you all are exaggerating, I was just fooling around with my free time. She's not just capable, she's got a good personality and she's humble as well. Nothing like the one I have at home, always getting me into trouble. Madam Ning, how did you manage to have such a wonderful daughter? Give us some tips." A bunch of people started asking Zhuang Lingyu. Zhuang Lingyu looked at her daughter proudly and smiled. "I don't really have much experience actually, Ning Xuelua never really needed me to worry about her." "Oh, how envious!" Among the waves of praises, a small voice piped up, "Speaking of which, I really don't know what the elder was thinking, he already has such a fabulous granddaughter, yet he still insisted on adopting a little girl from his hometown and put her under your care. Then, she caused so much trouble, was he trying to just spice up his life?" Find updates on n/v/elbin.co/m. Zhuang Lingyu's mouth tightened into an unnatural smile and she said, "He pitied her and was just trying to be kind, we as the younger generation could only follow his will." She was totally carving out a clear-cut description of her relationship with Ningxi. Until today, no one knew that Ningxi and Ning Xuelua had exchanged their identity. Everyone still thought that Ningxi was just an adopted child from the elder's hometown. At first, when the elder took Ningxi back, he was going to publicize her identity since she was his real grandchild, and Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu had agreed. But, no thanks to Ning Xuelua's provocation, Ning Shi had embarrassed her family on several occasions, making Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu really unhappy. On the day they were going to announce Ning Shi's actual identity, Ning Shi had worn a counterfeit version of a branded dress and was found out, bringing unspeakable humiliation to her family. The both of them instantly changed their mind, deciding not to announce Ning Shi's identity, and they had been delaying the matter. 5 years ago, after Ning Shi did something else that insulted the family name, they totally gave up on coming clean about her identity and sent her overseas instead. You're really kind for sending her overseas to study as well, but it has been 5 years, isn't it? She should have graduated, hasn't she? I wonder what she's doing now. Is she working in Ning International? A distant relative asked. Ning Yaohua had 2 daughters, 1 real child and 1 fake lady. Ning Xuelua was lucky and got married into the Su family, so no one could not take advantage of her anymore, not that they dared to. Although Ning Shi had a lower status, she still held the title of an adopted daughter. Any man who married her would somehow benefit from the union. Everyone started asking about Ning Shi following the relatives' inquiry. I heard that she's been playing some minor roles here and there. What? Just some minor roles? She rejected a proper job to go and do something like that? She probably wanted to try her luck after seeing how successful Xuelua became. Isn't that overestimating herself? Does she think that just anyone can be a star? Aren't you doing something about it, Lingyu? Zhuang Lingyu's happy expression soon faded upon hearing all those comments. Ning Xuelua held Zhuang Lingyu's hands and said kindly, "Father and mother have always wanted her to work in the company and have even made the necessary arrangements, but sister just doesn't want it, uncle and aunties. Well, as you all know, she's adopted, but we should respect her own decisions." Some bystanders nodded. Ah, how could the blame be put on Lingyu? Lingyu took care of her and even sent her overseas for education. That's already more than enough. Read latest ch at n/velbi.co/m. What can I say? This girl from that small little town doesn't know how to be grateful. There's no way to teach her. How could you compare her with Xuelua? You're right. Lingyu and Yaohua have already done their best. Zhuang Lingyu let out a sigh of relief, glad that no one knew that the embarrassing girl was her own biological daughter. Her daughter, her pride of joy, was only Xuelua. With the excuse of adopted parents not being able to do much, no matter what kind of embarrassing incident Ning Shi was involved in, it would not be related to her, Zhuang Lingyu. Outside of the Ning residence gate, Ning Shi looked from afar. If she was to enter from the main gate, she would need an invitation card. However, no one bothered to tell her about the celebrations today, not to mention, there was no invitation card for her whatsoever. After giving it some thought, she gave her cousin's sister, Ning Tianxin, a call. Sis Xin. The voice on the other side of the phone sounded excited. Xiao Shi, where are you? I was just about to call you. It's grandfather's birthday today, are you coming back? I'm already at the entrance, do you mind coming out and passing my present to grandfather? Ning Shi asked. You're already here? Even if you don't want to see anyone else, you're already here, so why not meet up with grandfather? Grandfather talked to me about you last night and asked when you were coming back. I comforted him that you'll be here today, but... Ning Tianxin's sentence trailed off. Ning Shi felt troubled by her cousin's words. In the end, Ning Tianxin sighed, why don't we do it this way? You come to the back door, I'll find a chance to bring grandfather there. You greet him yourself and give the present to him personally. You're the best. Thank you, Sis Xin. Ning Shi expressed gratefully. Success! Ning Shi let out a sigh of relief and walked towards the back door with the jade-beaded bracelet she had bought last time. Her eyes reddened when she saw Ning Tianxin helping a white-haired old man approach her. 5 years might not be a long time for youngsters like her, but for elders like grandfather, it was like eternity. Grandfather's hair had turned all white and his straight spine had curved into a hunch. He took out his glasses from his front pocket, trying to look at her face clearly. Ningxi's old memories all rushed back to her the moment she saw her grandfather. It was winter, she was still young and was brought to a strange place. She saw her biological parents being intimate with Ning Xuelua as she hid in a corner and started missing her old home. She was almost on the verge of tears. Then, grandfather found her, held her hands, took her to the kitchen and cooked her a bowl of noodles and soup, telling her not to cry as this was her home. Zhuang Lingyu had always yelled at her, instilling fear and insecurity in her, and she only became worse at the things she was told to do. Her grandfather would always spend time with her in the study room and he taught her many things patiently. After she left home, she never returned and grandfather did not know what had happened. As his health was not at its peak, Ningxi dared not tell him what had happened so as not to worsen his condition. There was a time when grandfather went to America personally to bring her back, but she had declined. Till the present day, she still remembered his disappointed expression. Currently, Ningxi was not sure how to face him. Ning Ziyuan was clearly unhappy, probably still thinking about the time when she did not return home with him. Ning Tianxin was the first to make a move to break the ice. She went over and held Ningxi's hands and took her to grandfather. "Xiao Shi, what are you standing there for? Say something!" Ning Tianxin urged her. Ningxi was not the shy little girl she was. As she got back to her senses, she quickly gave the elder a big hug. "Grandfather, I've missed you." Ning Ziyuan was surprised by his granddaughter's passionate hug and he exclaimed, "I don't really see how you have missed me. If you really did, why didn't you come back after all these years?" Although his tone was a little harsh, he obviously still had a soft spot for her. Ningxi laughed. "Grandfather, I'm studying hard. You're the one who told me that knowledge transforms life. I've listened to your words and gave studying my all. You." Ning Ziyuan looked helplessly at her with his speckled gray eyes, almost not recognizing her anymore as he mumbled, "You've changed. Not just her looks, her personality, her aura. Just meeting her for a short while made him realize that his granddaughter's transformation came as a big surprise to him. Ningxi cocked her head to one side and asked, "How did I change? Am I prettier now?" The elder smiled at her and replied, yes, and much more positive now. It's a good change. Looks like the overseas environment did you good." That was the only thing that comforted Ning Ziyuan as he felt really sorry for this granddaughter of his. After some small talk, Ning Ziyuan moved on to the actual conversation. "Xiao Shi, I know that I told you to focus on your studies, but I've also taught you to do the right things at the right time, yes? And you too, Tianxin, listen to what I'm going to say. You two are getting older now, practically ripe for marriage. You should find someone, get married quickly and bring me a cute little grandchild. I understand that youngsters nowadays are very busy, so if you don't have time to look after the kids, I'll look after them for you, don't worry about it." Ningxi and Ning Tianxin looked at each other helplessly. Ning Tianxin was a feeble person and would not say anything, so Ningxi spoke up, "Grandfather. Stop. You can't be like this. The first thing you tell me after so many years is to urge me to marry. You know what kind of grandfather isn't cute? It's the kind that urges their grandchildren to get married." Ning Ziyuan shot her a stubborn look. "Then, do you know what kind of granddaughter isn't cute? One like you. Always roaming outside and not coming back, and not bearing any great-grandchild for me. I'm already 70 years old today, how many years do I have left?" Ningxi was speechless by his rebuttal. Ning Ziyuan looked in the direction of the banquet hall and said to them in a sad tone, "It's not that I want to force the both of you. I have no choice. Up until your generation, there isn't a male offspring. Who am I going to pass the family business to? Are you asking me to pass it to the adopted Ning Xuelua? Or your second uncle's two illegitimate daughters?" Both Ning Shi and Ning Tianxin looked down shamefully after hearing what their grandfather said. Ning Shi lived with a no-marriage doctrine. She would probably never get married her whole life, what more have a child to take over the family business? Ning Tianxin already had someone in mind, but they missed their window of opportunity. She still could not let it go after so many years, and she could not accept anyone else, so she was not able to fulfill grandfather's wish as well. Ning Tianxin's father, also Ning Shi's second uncle, Ning Yaobang, wanted to force Ning Tianxin to marry someone and give birth to a successor, but the fragile Ning Tianxin was stubborn on the inside. She insisted not to marry at all and threatened him with her death, so Ning Yaobang had been sprinkling his seeds outside in a desperate attempt and cultivating his illegitimate daughters, hoping they could give birth to a successor soon. As for Ning Xuelua, even though she was adopted, it seemed that they had discussed with the Su family that her firstborn male would bear the surname Ning. Ning Yaohua had been fighting with Ning Yaobang restlessly. Ning Yaohua's biggest chip was Ning Xuelua's influence and her marriage to the Su family, while Ning Yaobang's biggest chip was that while he did not have a son, at least all his daughters were her real daughters. If any of them gave birth to a son, then he would be the successor with the Bud of the Ning family. As the discussion progressed, it turned stale. Both Ning Shi and Ning Tianxin not having any idea how to reply their grandfather. They could not promise him, but they were not cruel enough to break his heart. Suddenly, a familiar voice came through. "Father, many people are waiting to meet you. Why are you here in the backyard?" You, Ning Shi." As Zhuang Lingyu was speaking, she noticed that someone else was with Ning Tianxin and Ning Ziyuan. After realizing that it was Ning Shi, Zhuang Lingyu's expression darkened and she yelled at her, "What are you doing here? We have a lot of guests here. What would happen if they saw you? Get out!" Before Ning Shi could say anything, the old man was enraged. "Ridiculous, Xiao Shi is my biological granddaughter. What makes you think you can chase her out?" Zhuang Lingyu was worried and she carefully looked around. "Father, please keep your voice down." Ariad updated estirise at n//vel/bin.com. "What for? Am I wrong? Is Xiao Shi not your daughter?" Ning Ziyuan was even angrier seeing her worried gesture. The reprimanded Zhuang Lingyu stared at Ning Shi, then she gently apologized to Ning Ziyuan, "Father, I don't mean it that way. As you would know, not many people know that Xiao Shi is my. I've told you a long time ago. I told you to announce Xiao Shi's identity. She was studying abroad before, but now she's back. Everyone's here today and you will tell everyone that Xiao Shi is part of our Ning family." Zhuang Lingyu reacted in horror. "What? Father, absolutely not. I disagree." Her expression looked as if Ning Shi was some disgusting and terrifying beast that had to be hidden from the world. Back then, when she had just returned home, she would have been heartbroken seeing such an expression like that from her biological mother, but now, any semblance of expectation was totally eradicated. Ning Tianxin was not aware of what Ning Shi had gone through, so she felt really sorry for her and held her cousin's hands tightly. Ning Shi felt a sense of warmth glowing from her heart with Ning Tianxin's grip, and she gave her a happy smile. Her smile was as warm as the sun and brought an otherworldly kind of joy. Ning Tianxin did not expect that reaction from Ning Shi and was shocked. As Ning Ziyuan and Zhuang Lingyu discussed, a few people had come over. Ning Yaohua, Ning Xuelua, Ning Yaobang, and her two illegitimate daughters joined the group. Apart from Ning Yaobang's wife, who was not there due to some relationship complications, all of the Ning family members were present. "What happened? Why have the both of you started arguing?" Ning Yaohua frowned, then he saw Ning Shi and his face darkened. Why are you here? He was surprised that his wife would start an argument with his father. As expected, every time this girl appeared, bad things would happen. Zhuang Lingyu saw that her husband was here and she quickly told him, Yaohua, please convince your father. He wants to announce Xiaoxi's identity today. New chapters will be fully updated at novl/bin.com. Ning Yaohua responded in shock, no way. Father, are you confused? Damn it, did this brat tell you to do this? Ning Yaohua shot Ning Shi a suspicious look. Ning Ziyuan struck the floor with his walking stick and demanded, don't you blame this on Xiaoxi, it was my idea. Now, you tell me, what's wrong with this? Right, what's wrong with this? Isn't Ning Shi your real daughter? Ning Yaobang followed along, adding fuel to the fire. His provoking tone angered Ning Yaohua. You, shut up. It's none of your business. Ning Yaohua's overbearing attitude triggered Ning Yaobang, who replied, brother, that's not quite right of you to say that. I'm also a member of the Ning family, how is this none of my business? Damn it! What was the big deal being the business manager? It was not like he received any shares. How dare he yell at him like this? Still, he was blessed with an exceptional daughter. Not only did she bring in tons of resources, she even brought back an outstanding son-in-law. Could Ning Xuelua have brought fortune to Ning Yaohua as Master Long mentioned? God damn it, what sort of luck did Ning Yaohua have for him to pick up such a valuable golden egg? It was a good thing that his biological daughter was so terrible. He was looking forward to Ning Shi's return to mess up Ning Yaohua's life. He was excited just by thinking about what had happened 5 years ago. Ning Yaohua stopped talking to Ning Yaobang and focused on the old man first. Father, it's not that I don't want to announce it, but it's too hasty to do so. We've been telling everyone that she's adopted, then suddenly the adopted daughter becomes the real daughter. You'd need a good excuse for that. It'll be a big joke if we do it unprepared. Furthermore, it will look really bad if we mess up on your birthday today. Hasty, it's been 5 years. You have never even bothered about this matter, have you? Of course, I have. I've looked for her when she first returned and even wanted to arrange a job for her. She could have slowly adapted to our Ning family, only then we'd announce her real identity. It was she who wanted to enter the entertainment industry. Not only did she bring up some nasty rumors upon herself, she even affected Xuelua. Actually, announcing Ning Shi's identity had never occurred to him. The terrible scandal of Ning Shi giving birth to a dead child after having sex with 2 escorts was a time bomb that would explode any moment. If it was ever exposed one day, he could never let anyone know that Ning Shi was her biological daughter. Ning Ziyuan did not believe his son and asked, a job? What kind of job did you arrange for Xiaoxi? Our branch company in Singapore. You bastard, you're sending her far away right after she had just returned. What are you letting Xiaoxi do at that stupid place with just 20 employees? I'm just trying to let her gain more experience. I can't put her straight into our main office, can I? Explore new ovals on nvelby.com. Xiaoxi is my granddaughter, why not? Xiaoxi, you'll join the main office tomorrow in the finance department. Ning Xuelua's expression changed when she heard what Ning Ziyuan said. She had actually wanted to join the Ning company's main office at first, but her position would attract a lot of suspicion in the company. Thus, she decided to use reverse psychology. Even if Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu had suggested it, she would decline them, showing that she was not going after any benefits the Ning family would be associated with at all. As a result, Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu showered her with more love, and even the elder had nothing to say about it. Ning Ziyuan really hated the two illegitimate daughters of Ning Yaobang. They were not a threat to her at all. Even though Ning Tianxin could possibly give birth to a son, she was still charmed by a man from her past, so there was no worrying about her. Ning Xuelua was patient because after she had gained enough resources from the Su family, everything from the Ning family would be hers eventually. But now, after so many years of hard work, they were falling apart all because of Ning Shi. How could she tolerate this? After the elder finished, not only Ning Yaohua, Zhuang Lingyu, and Ning Xuelua, even Ning Yaobang could not stand it anymore. Father, are you kidding me? She graduated from some unknown university and has no working experience at all. How could you let her join the finance department? Even if you were to pick, you should pick Tianxin. Or even Xiao Ru and Xiao Ai. Brother, you're overestimating your children. While it's true that Tianxin graduated from the University of Imperial, she's an art major, so what can she do in the finance department? As for your two illegitimate daughters, what else do they know aside from dressing themselves up? Are you trying to mess up the company by letting them join the finance department? Father has said it before, Xuelua will join the finance department after she's married. Of course, Ning Yaohua hoped that his daughter would join the main company, but he had hoped for Ning Xuelua to do so, and not Ning Shi. To him, if Ning Shi were to join the main company, it would be a total disaster. Messing things up in the family was terrible, but screwing up in the company would be utterly embarrassing. He had promised the Su family the other day that Xuelua would definitely inherit the family business. As the three of them argued, Zhuang Lingyu went up to Ning Shi and pulled her aside. What are you still waiting here for? Leave now. We were all good here until you came along. It's your grandfather's birthday today, do you really have to mess things up? Although Ning Shi looked calm, Ning Tianxin could not hold it in anymore. Despite being a meek person, she spoke up, Big Aunt, you're not being reasonable here. Xiaoxi was just here to wish grandfather, so in order to not alert all of you I brought grandfather to the backyard to see her. She didn't say anything nor do anything wrong at all. How is this her fault? Yes, she didn't do anything wrong, but her presence itself is more than enough. And our family matters are none of your business. At the same time, in CEO Lu's room. 2 hours had gone by, but Ning Shi was not back yet. Little Treasure was lying there looking out of the window as usual while Lu Tingxiao started to check his phone frequently. Lu Jingli could not stand them anymore. Can the both of you calm down? It's only been 2 hours. 5 minutes later, she was not back yet. Lu Tingxiao picked up his phone and called Ning Shi, but no one answered. At the Ning family's residence. Ning Shi's phone suddenly rang and she saw it was Lu Tingxiao calling. She realized that more than 2 hours had passed. He was probably going to ask when she was returning. The Ning family was in an uproar now and Ning Shi was not available to pick up the call. She went up to her fuming grandfather and spoke to him gently, We'll talk about things some other day, I'm just here to see you today. I have something to do later and I have to go now. Happy birthday, grandfather. 7 sit envelb/n. C/m for L testvels. What? You're leaving now? Her grandfather asked worriedly. Don't worry about these bastards. Grandfather is here, no one can chase you away. Ning Shi stroked her grandfather's back. Grandfather, I'm just a little busy lately. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here this late. Xiaoxi, it's my fault, I made you go through such hard times. Ning Ziyuan thought Ning Shi was just comforting him and that she was leaving because of Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu's attitude, so he felt sorry for her. Ning Xuelua knew that things were bad, seeing the expression on her grandfather's face. Although the current power lay in Ning Yaohua's hands, the company's shares were still dictated by the elder, and if he favored Ning Shi, then things would be troublesome. She was afraid that the elder would feel sorry for Ning Shi. After all, she was still the real granddaughter, so no matter how useless or dirty Ningxu was, a few words were all it would take to destroy everything Ningxuelua had built up so far. Was it because of that damned lineage? Just because she did not have the Ning family's blood running in her, would she need to invest hundreds and thousands-fold more effort to get what Ningxi could acquire easily? If Ningxi became the legitimate heir, then Ningxuelua could not accept the thought of how she would live a life of poverty back in the poor village. Even if the Ning family kept her, she could not bear the thought of being under Ningxi. She was the Ning family's daughter and she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. There was no way she would allow this witch to take away all of that from her. Ariad updated Estirise at n/vel/bin.com. That's right, she was the one and only daughter of the Ning family. Even bloodline could not change that. Ningxuelua took a deep breath to calm herself down, then she went up to Ningxi and held her arms, saying in a trembling voice, "Sister, please don't leave, all right? Please don't be angry with father and mother. They have been preparing to announce your identity a long time ago, but you didn't want to come back and join the company. You can put all the blame on me, it's all my fault, do whatever you want to me. If you really don't want to see me here, I'll leave now. But please, sister, don't go. Even if you don't want to see us, think about grandfather. Grandfather really missed you. At least take a bite of grandfather's birthday cake. What could possibly make you miss grandfather's birthday?" Ningxuelua's words were phrased cleverly, indirectly blaming matters on Ningxi, at the same time expressing her awkward position in the Ning family, and most importantly, showing how filial she was towards grandfather. Zhuang Lingyu felt sorry for her. "Xuelua, what are you talking about? Where are you going? You shouldn't be the one leaving." The elder looked much kinder now, seeing Ningxuelua ask Ningxi to stay as well. Of course, he would not chase Ningxuelua away, so he went along with her. "Xiao Shi, it's such a rare occasion that you're back. Stay for a while more, all right?" Ningxi looked at the elder's eyes silently, and in the end, she nodded. Okay. It was already clear that she would disappoint him by never fulfilling his wish of giving birth to a great-grandchild for him. It would be impossible for her to go back to the Ning family or to join the company, so she was not cruel enough to decline his simple request up front. "That's great. Come inside. It's cold outside." The elder delightedly went back into the house with the help of Ning Tianxin and Ningxi. Ningxuelua was left behind. She gave them a cold stare when she saw Ning Tianxin and Ningxi helped Ning Ziyuan back inside. Seeing that the elder was settled, Zhuang Lingyu let out a sigh of relief. She walked up to Ningxuelua kindly and held her hands apologetically. "Xuelua, it must be hard for you." No matter what happened at home, she was always mature and cared about everyone's feelings. Ning Yaohua felt heartbroken for her as well. He sighed, "Xuelua, don't take it personally, your grandfather just missed Shaoxi too much and was excited. He did not mean what he said, I'm still in charge of the company right now, don't worry." "Thank you, father, mother, I understand." After grandfather had calmed down, Ningxi sent Lu Tingxiao a message, "I need to stay here with my grandfather for a little while more. We'll be late. Take little treasure back home first, I'll pick him up from Platinum Palace later." Lu Tingxiao's face fell when he read her message in his office. Lu Tingxiao understood that no matter how strong Ningxi looked, she still had her soft spot, which was the Ning family. He knew a thing or two about what had happened to her in the Ning family. Although Ningxi sounded casual in the text message, how could he be not worried about leaving her alone at that place? As Ningxi followed the elder into the banquet hall, everyone started whispering to each other. "Who's the girl beside Elder Ning? She came here dressed like that? I heard the elder call her Shaoxi just now, could it be the adopted daughter, Ningxi?" So that's her. It's been 5 years and she's still like that, there's been no improvement at all. Hee hee, she's still wearing pirated goods after 5 years. Has her taste in clothes not improved? Ningxi had been going around to do some furniture shopping for the studio decoration with Gong Xiangzi and Little Treasure, so she had casually worn just a leather jacket with jeans and tied a neat ponytail. However, because all of the ladies there that night were wearing long dresses and high heels, she stood out like a sore thumb. The elder was over the moon about his granddaughter's return and could not care less about what Ningxi wore, so he kept on talking to Ningxi until Zhuang Lingyu had to remind him about the guests waiting for him. Eventually, she let Ning Tianxin accompany Ningxi to get something to eat. After the elder had left to see to the guests, any trace of a smile left Zhuang Lingyu's face as she looked at Ningxi with despise. Take a look in the mirror. Don't you know what day it is? Ning Xuelua rushed to say, Mother, don't blame sister, she must have rushed here and had no time to change. She acted as if she was afraid of Ningxi getting angry at her. She walked up to her, Sister, if you don't mind, do you want to change into one of my outfits upstairs? What are you waiting for? Go and follow Ning Xuelua to change. You've been so busy but you never do anything properly. Who knows what kind of trouble you're involved in? To Zhuang Lingyu, Ningxi was the bane of her existence and she could not even stand looking at her. When she was younger, Ningxi would have been embarrassed if she was scolded like that the last time, but now she just glanced at Zhuang Lingyu. Oh, it wouldn't really matter to you whether I got changed or not. Aren't you being a bit too controlling, Madam Ning? She then took hold of Ning Tianxin's hand and headed for dessert. You. Zhuang Lingyu sputtered in frustration, Xuelua, look at her, does she still treat me as a mother? She's got no manners at all. Ning Xuelua was gloating happily as she comforted Zhuang Lingyu and pretended to speak up for Ningxi, but the more she said, the deeper Zhuang Lingyu's hatred for her own daughter ran. Oblivious to her mother's anger, Ningxi sat down at a table with Ning Tianxin. She helped herself to some wine and felt no awkwardness about crashing in an unfamiliar place. It was as if the place was her backyard garden and what had happened here was merely a hilarious performance which she was taking as entertainment. Ning Tianxin looked at her cousin's sister with her nonchalant attitude in surprise. Xiaoxi, you've changed a lot over the years, read latest chapters at n/velbi.co/m. Ningxi raised her eyebrows. Have I? When she was discovered wearing a ripped-off dress 5 years ago, she recalled feeling like she might as well have been naked in public and her world collapsed under the mockery and the looks of disgust from everyone. But now, by comparison, it seemed that there had been drastic changes over the years. Actually, before she arrived, she had felt nervous and reluctant when she thought about meeting the Ning family. The trauma from her past was too hurtful to be forgotten easily and it still haunted her in the form of nightmares. But being present there, facing the odd stares from those people and the mockery from her own parents, along with Ning Xuelua's usual hypocritical act, she was not as anxious as she anticipated to be. There was not even the tiniest sense of rage or anger. Time could really change a person. Before she realized it, all the things she cared so much about before did not matter as much now. You're not just prettier, you've actually gained much more confidence. I can see it, especially in your eyes. How do I put it? There's an unknown strength from them, like the rebirth of a phoenix. Rising from the ashes. Ning Tianxin told her excitedly, although she felt a little heartache. Find new stories on nov/elbin.com. People don't change without reason and she did not know what triggered Ningxi's change today. She felt that it was odd when Ningxi had gone overseas 5 years ago, but she felt like she was not in the position to ask about it. Ningxi smiled and cupped her chin in her hands. Cousin sister, you've even got a flair for complimenting people. I'm serious. Ning Tianxin replied. Ning Shi sipped some wine and sighed, love breeds sorrow, love breeds fear. Those who have abandoned love are free from sorrow and fear. Maybe it's because I don't care anymore that none of this matters now. You're stronger when are free of desires. Ning Tianxin looked a little pale hearing Ning Shi's words. Xiao Shi, what are you thinking? Why does it sound like you're cutting yourself off from any worldly ties? Ning Shi coughed. She was just joking around, but Ning Tianxin was clearly scared, so she quickly comforted her. Sis Xin, I'm just kidding, don't worry. She was obsessed with such temptations around her. How could she cut herself off from any worldly ties? It would be great if she could really achieve that. Ning Shi chatted with Ning Tianxin happily while the gossip about her earlier soon stopped since Ning Shi did not pay them any mind. Their main purpose here was to get on the elders and Ning Yahua's good side. They were not here to look at some unimportant adopted daughter. The night came. More and more guests arrived and the banquet hall was filled with people. Ning Yaohua was trying her hardest to make the elder happy. He got people to bring out the presents he had prepared beforehand. He had prepared an exquisitely made red coral 8 treasure screen which looked very extravagant. Everyone praised it and mentioned how filial Ning Yaohua was. The elder just looked at it and just let it slide. He did not look very happy, apparently because he was still angry. Ning Xuelua gave his father a comforting gaze and shot Ning Shi daggers. He went up to the elder with a wooden box filled with intricate carvings in her hands. Grandfather, happy birthday! This is a present I picked out by myself. I hope you'll like it. Zhuang Lingyu started, Father, open it. Xuelua's company started to earn some money recently and she used her own money to buy it for you. I've mentioned paying for her but she insisted on preparing the present herself for it to be sincere. The elder took a glance at his granddaughter and opened the box and slowly. Upon seeing what was inside, his facial expression changed drastically. Inside the box was a bracelet made of jade beads. Ning Yahua's gift was clearly a case of insincere splurging. On the other hand, Ning Xuelua's present exuded effort in preparation. She knew that he loved jade and was also a staunch Buddhist, so she chose to give him a jade-beaded bracelet. As Ning Ziyuan assessed the bracelet, Ning Xuelua stood in front of him quietly. Despite the unease in her eyes, the elder loved her very much. Ning Xuelua had been staying with him ever since she was a child, and even after it was found out that she was not his actual grandchild, he still treated her just like one of his own. He just did not like his eldest son's and daughter-in-law's attitude. Ning Ziyuan sighed and gently said, "Thank you for your gift, I really like it." Ning Xuelua looked relieved to hear her grandfather's praise. Her eyes had reddened slightly and she excitedly said, "I'm glad that you like it, grandfather." The old man felt sorry for her upon hearing the girl's sincerity in her voice. He did not want to involve her in his argument with his son and daughter-in-law. He then advised her, "Your career is important but remember to take care of your health, especially since you're a girl. Don't overexert yourself." Ning Xuelua nodded heavily, feeling touched. "Got it, grandfather." Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua looked at each other after they saw that the elder's face was full of warmth. They looked at Ning Xuelua, their treasure and pride. The relatives and the guests at the side started their stream of flattery. "Oh, the color of the jade looks really good. I'm guessing it costs at least $2 or $3 million. That's no big deal. Xuelua's brand history made a net profit of tens of millions just this season. What's more is that she's a famous superstar. Elder Ning, you're really blessed. Your children and grandchildren are so capable and filial." In the corner, Ning Shi, who was chatting with Ning Tianxin, frowned when she saw Ning Xuelua's present for their grandfather. What a coincidence! Ning Xuelua's present was just like Ning Shi's, a bracelet made of jade beads. Her eyes met Ning Xuelua's gaze. Ning Xuelua set her eyes on the present on their table. Those cunning eyes, they looked as if she already knew what Ningxi had planned to give and that she had purposely prepared the same thing. Obviously, Ning Xuelua's present was at least 10 times more expensive than Ningxi's gift. She intentionally wanted to embarrass her in front of everyone. Visit novilbin.c/m for the L-test updates. Ning Xuelua put on a grin, then told the elder, "Grandfather, I heard that sister has also got you a present." She innocently looked as if she was just trying to make grandfather happy. As Ningxi's real identity had still not been announced, Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu would be spared the blame regardless of whatever humiliating incident occurred since she was an adopted daughter to the public's knowledge. At the same time, she could make grandfather upset with Ningxi, hence killing 2 birds with 1 stone. As expected, the elder did not notice Ning Xuelua's real intentions. He looked at Ningxi with joy. "Is that true, Xiaoxi?" Ning Tianxin looked at Ning Xuelua, then turned to Ningxi, her sharp senses warning her that something was not right. "Xiaoxi, wait." She could not tell what Ning Xuelua was plotting, but it was definitely clear that whatever it was would not help improve the relationship between Ningxi and grandfather, making it even more impossible for Ningxi to shine under a positive light at an event like this. "Let me have a closer look at your gift. I suspect that Ning Xuelua might have done something to it." Ning Tianxin alerted. "There must be something odd happening." Ningxi smiled and whispered to Ning Tianxin, "Cousin sister, you sure are smart. The present does have some flaws, but it's been by my side the whole time, so I'm sure that nothing has happened to it." "Then?" Ning Tianxin asked suspiciously. For some reason, Ning Xuelua knew what I was going to give grandfather, so she prepared the same present as mine, and of course, hers is much more expensive. Ning Tianxin immediately knew what was going on and she continued in panic, "What then? Even if grandfather doesn't mind, the people around us would surely say something nasty. Xiaoxi, why don't I exchange something for you?" "It's okay, I'm fine as long as grandfather doesn't mind." Ningxi walked towards her grandfather with her present and gracefully wished him, "Grandfather, happy birthday." Ning Tianxin was worried about her, but then she suddenly calmed down. She had been blinded. At first, Ningxi had not wanted to return to the Ning family. Besides that, she was clearly not after the Ning family's property. No matter what everyone else said to her, she did not care about their opinions, only being concerned about grandfather's opinion. Being reunited with his granddaughter was a happy enough occasion for him, so he did not mind even if she had not prepared any gift. He smiled and told her, "I'm already very glad that you're back, you don't have to prepare anything for me. You've been working so hard on your own outside. Anyway, it's sister's sincerity, quickly open it, grandfather." Ning Xuelua told him, hiding her eagerness. Okay. The elder slowly opened up the box and was surprised when he saw what was inside, but he recovered quickly. He looked at Ningxi kindly, "Girls are really sweet, they both thought of the same thing and got me what I like." Ning Xuelua shot them a cold gaze as she sneered at them inwardly. "So, you would still like it because your real granddaughter gave it to you." Others also saw what Ningxi presented him with and they were surprised. What a coincidence! They both gave him the same thing. Ning Xuelua's friends started gossiping. Ying Fanglin glanced at the jade bead bracelet and ridiculed, "That's totally different. Xuelua's one is definitely top-notch quality, this is just some worthless trash." "How is that the same?" Jing Xianxian went along, "Ningxi, didn't you just move over to Glory World Entertainment? You should be earning a lot, shouldn't you? And you just bought such a poor quality item like this? It's your grandfather's 70th birthday. Are you really okay with giving him this? Do you know that jade has an aura of its own which can make or break a person's fortune? That last sentence was a devastating arrow meant to embarrass her. Suddenly, Ningxi was targeted by everyone. Please don't put it that way, she might not be doing very well herself, someone said jokingly. What? For giving something she can't afford, why did she choose something as expensive as this? You have to understand that people from small villages like to act generously and act ignorantly. How would they know about the taboo about jade stones? Ning Ziyuan was really unhappy as he heard all the comments. Just as he was going to speak up, an bespectacled old man from the crowd said in a serious tone, "My young friends, please allow me to say something. The taboo about jade stones doesn't lie in its worth. And a jade's quality is based on many factors. Even if it was just a normal jade, with suitable care, or if it were crafted by a renowned maker and blessed by high priest monks, it could become a priceless treasure." The elder hesitated and looked at the jade Ningxi had given to her grandfather before continuing, "And this is what I would call a priceless treasure. Well, truckers, that's all for this part. See you all in the next video.